Hey, screeners, how you doing? It's myself, the one AJ, Anthony Jordan, and if you're watching, yes, I am wearing a blue bandana.
You throw me off. Double V, the vice verisimilitude, Mito, Nico Lurot. How you doing, guys?
Hey, what can we do? It's one of those things that, okay, guys, normally when we have done our lives, actually, sorry, I'm just going to get the phone because, as per usual, I'm going to share this show with everybody who's interested. But yeah, normally we don't have a lot of green room time recently. It's literally been like run in, press record and go. Today we had a couple of minutes and he was like, Nico's like, oh my God, you're wearing a bandana and it's blue. I don't have a problem with you wearing a blue bandana, but blue's never been you. Like blue's always been me. You've always been the red guy. It's true. But hey, switch it up a bit. Plus it's not mine. I nicked it off my bro. But we won't get into it.
Speaking of... I actually don't even know how to tangent. Fuck it. Some of you may have seen earlier on that, like about 3.5 hours ago, up on the channel, I did my review for Dune. If you haven't, please go and watch that after you finish watching us live, because we want you guys interacting with us. And at the end of that review, you don't know this, AJ. There's no spoilers. Don't worry. I promised everyone who is watching me live an argument between you and me.
Oh, for God's sakes. God, all right, God.
We're going to have this out now. This is going to be a therapy session for you. Once and for all, we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to find out what your beef with Woody Harrelson is. Because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from you to start with. I want everyone to know what the fuck happened the other night on. I'm going to find these messages because I've seen some dumb shit in my time, but you took the biscuit the other night. Where are we at? All these fucking DC fandom things. By the way, while I'm looking for the messages, how good was the Batman trailer? Oh,
Batman's awesome. Colin Farrell has given another morphing character. Like he's morphed into the character, which I absolutely love. Again, something Den Detect put out, and I'm really going to agree with it. I've seen enough Batman. I need to see some Bruce, like from Robert, and that's the part that's kind of every part seems to be the emotional guff. Which, if that's the angle they're going with, let it go with it. But I just need to see what he's going to do with Bruce. Like to me, you can go down that way, and it's a different telling. But Bruce Wayne has always been the slick playboy. You know, he's masked the pain pretty well.
No,
he's tormented. He's tormented. I will never say no.
Depends which comic iteration you're looking at, mate. If you're looking at year 1 or year 2, it's exactly what you're seeing with Robert Pattinson. Literally, a Batman who isn't backed by Lucius Fox, who isn't backed by Wayne Enterprise, who doesn't have all the money in the world, yeah. And it's literally just him and Alfred being moderately clever. Batman year 2 is pretty much what you're seeing, and I believe that's the way they've gone with it.
Cool. Anyway, we can go down to it, and I can.
And Riri agrees. Batman trailer was amazing. Hello, Riri. Great to have you back. Yes, Batman trailer was amazing.
Thank you very much. I honestly enjoyed it. There's this Flash teaser, which I think is kind of interesting because it shows Michael Keaton's there. So we are definitely in this kind of multiverse world.
Beta Batman trailer. I mean, that wasn't a Flash trailer.
Bro, this is
another Batman trailer.
This is the thing. It was literally just another Batman trailer, just Batman in another movie, essentially. But yeah, hey, what can we do?
You just know that sheet he was pulling off as the old Tim Burton Batmobile in it. I was like, oh, that got me all sort of nostalgic.
Yeah. It's kind of sad.
Unfortunately for you, mate. Unfortunately for you, I have found the messages on our comic book group.
I don't care because I'm willing to go with it. It's not that much of a throw.
We must go with it because I need to understand. Because it's one thing you saying you've seen him in movies and you're like, it didn't work with me. Andy Hart's here, AJ, so be careful what you say from here on out. You're in big trouble. Andy Hart says, the Batman trailer was great. Time for the world to realize how good Robert Pattinson is. Andy Hart, you see? He's speaking my language.
Bro,
He's speaking my language.
Again, remember, this is one thing I've never had a beef with.
No, not you, AJ.
I'm just saying that I've never had a beef with. Because I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying when I'm saying I want to see the Bruce Wayne side of it. I have no problem with the actor playing Bruce or the Bat. Let's get that out there.
Cool. But you do have a problem with the actor playing Carnage, and that's what we're going to touch on now, because AJ has got this long-running thing about hating Woody Harrelson. Now, to your credit, sometimes, opinions are opinions, and, movies are the most subjective thing in the world. You can actually see something and it doesn't resonate with you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's fine. Like, I don't even believe you saw War for the Planet of the Apes, and your reason.
No, I've seen all three.
Oh, you have? So, okay, here we go. Was Woody Harrelson bad in that?
I don't think he was great.
The movie wasn't great, but was it his fault?
But it's weird. I just find there's this thing, and you can bring up the points that I said. Because I know I dipped in and I dipped out. Like, literally, I'm aware of this. Yeah, like shit's going on.
You left me hanging. I was so ready for an argument that night. I was like, I
physically don't have the argument bone in me at the moment, so this is why I'm like radio silent on a lot of stuff at the minute. But here we go.
Like in a long distance relationship, AJ's never there at the moment.
I know, trust me. But the funny thing is that even the missus is like, you're never there. So like the whole world thinks AJ's not there. But hey, if you're on a specific boat in the middle of London, you'll find AJ. But we won't get into that just yet.
So here's the whole story. I got out of Venom 2. I put the review up on the channel, as a lot of you have seen. By the way, guys, thank you for actually watching those reviews. I really appreciate it. And I shared with the comic book group pretty much what I said in review. Yes, AJ, watch the first season of True Detective. Andy, we're going to get into this. We're going to get into this.
Is this Woody we're talking about, yeah?
Yeah, Andy, you've just actually not helped, because AJ's now going to say he's a TV actor.
This is what I was going to say.
No!
Say this, but
just no!
Bring up the point, because I don't have... This is what hurts me. All right, bring it up. And I will. It's not even an argument. I'm just going to lay it out as I've seen it. I'm going to have to. It's like.
So I said in the group, I just saw Venom 2, bang average, actually quite boring. And I expanded on that in the actual review on the channel. So go and check that out afterwards. Den, who often comes and watches our videos live, says, thank you, I didn't like it either. And then AJ jumps in with this little nugget of wisdom and says, I keep telling you lot, Woody Harrelson is an average guy. So first off, that pisses me off, because we're not even talking about Woody Harrelson. We're talking about the movie. And of all the fucking great things in this movie, of all the things that are not great in this movie, you pick him. And here is your reasoning why. It was like, even Tone threw at you, hater. And then, just like Andy, he's making a recommendation. Big Tone says, watch White Men Can't Jump. It's a classic. I would bet quite a lot of money that you have not seen White Men Can't Jump.
I actually have.
And
Money Train. I've seen him and Wesley Snipes together. Like, I've seen both films.
And so, you don't like White Men Can't Jump?
Bro. Again, I found it. I wouldn't say like ultimate classic. Then I know. Here we go. Go on. Fire it all up, guys. Go on. Let's see it. Natural Born Killers. Let's just see it.
Just as you said that, look what Andy said. Perfect timing. Yes. That was going to be the next pull I did. But then I actually answered you. I knew this was coming. And as I'm going to ask you now, and I will ask you to elaborate, how does that relate to what I'm saying? Because you could blame this movie on so many things. And the fact that kills me is that you haven't even seen the film and you've already decided that, Nico said it's bad, therefore it's Harrelson's fault. And it's like, what the fuck? It's nothing to do with Woody. Bro, you liked, here's one to flip it on you. You liked Bohemian Rhapsody, didn't you?
Yes.
You thought Rami Malek was great in it, right?
Yeah.
Most people who like that movie saw No Time to Die. Whether you love or hate No Time to Die is irrelevant. Most people said that villain was underwhelming. That's not Rami Malek's fault.
Appreciate it.
But this is what I'm telling you. So how come without even seeing a movie, you're already throwing shade at the actor playing the villain? This is what I'm saying. We need a therapy session here, my G. Big man, point to me. Where did Woody touch you? Where did he touch you?
Don't use the deadline on me. No, look, I don't know what it is, right? And do you know what it is? Maybe, and this is going to be a weird one, okay? Maybe I previously overhyped Woody Harrelson. Now, this could be a weird one, yeah? I actually go back to Cheers. I was a a big fan of Woody. I thought he was kind of cool and that, and I've seen him in other bits. You can take your natural born killers, even White Men Can't Jump, and I really had this high estimation of like, yeah, this guy delivers like greatness, and then I deliver him, like see him on like episodes of Will and Grace, and I thought he's really funny. And I actually was like, yeah, no, Woody's one of those cool actors of that era. I then go back to some of the stuff and I'm just like, it just doesn't give me what I'm looking for. Now, War for the Planet.
What are you looking for?
I just felt like his performances just don't blow me away. But here comes the weird thing that's coming out, right? And this is where it's going to really contradict a lot of the shit that I've been saying, that I'm like, his films are bang average, da, 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 da. As you know, we are planning something else. And there was a film that I always said I have no time for, which features Michael Cera as well.
You mean Jesse Eisenberg?
Why did I say Michael Cera? Yeah, that's exactly who
I know exactly the movie you mean. Carry on.
Yeah.
And Emma Stone. Right?
Emma Stone.
Yeah.
And I was actually like, you're not too bad in this. And like, one, I don't know where the film...
bad.
Bro, there's something. Listen, I'm just putting it out there. Where I put it this way, as I said, the overhype that I used to give and the excitement, I felt myself slightly underwhelmed by what he delivers. So now, when I see a film with Woody Harrelson, I don't have a hate for the guy, but I'm not as excited as I previously was. I just feel like it just comes out as, yeah, he was all right. Not the great Woody Harrelson that I previously estimated him to be. So now when I'm seeing that he's portraying the villain Carnage in this film, I'm expecting, with certain characters, let's say AKA Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Cable,
Josh Brolin.
I was going to say Hartnett. Josh Brolin, like, you know, they fit the character. I don't know where Hartnett came from right there. It's
highly different film if we had Hartnett.
It really wouldn't have worked. But I'm just at this point where I'm like, yeah, like I would, because he was the wacko from Natural Born Killers. You're like, him playing Carnage, it should all fit into place. I just don't get the excitement now. I'm more on a, yeah, all right, let's see what he does. That's just how I feel.
So this is exactly the point I'm making. The guy who played Mickey Knox from Natural Born Killers is playing Cletus Cassidy. There's pedigree. There is proven pedigree for him playing serial killers. So why is it didn't work in Carnage? That's not Woody's fault.
I just feel there's something.
Bro, if someone hands you a script and says, jack off, you can jack off till the cows come home. You can sweat. You can cry. You can bleed. You can do all the dramatic acting, method acting that I care for. You can go full on My Left Foot and pretend that you're freaking Chrissy Brown with My Left Foot jacking off. If someone gives you a bad script, ain't no amount of jacking off that can save you.
Riri Thomas.
Because I can't stand the actor Mark Wahlberg, so I know how AJ feels. Me and my mates debate all the time. Yeah, but Riri, here's the thing. You're correct.
Well, Wahlberg is a different one, but here we go. So we've got Andy here.
Forget Woody in big movies. See how he shines in straight to video thriller. Check out Trans-Siberian. Really good title movie, and he is great in it. Is Trans-Siberian by any chance a knockoff of Snowpiercer? I'm gonna say probably no, but carry on.
But again, Andy, do you see the kind of link I'm building here? When it's meant to be the big stuff, I just find he doesn't bang.
Natural Born Killers. Natural Born Killers.
Yeah. I don't. It's one.
And here's my other question to you: has Woody Harrelson ever really, truly been given epically large roles?
No, but again, this is what I'm saying. Is that when his name is on the bill to certain films, and now I just feel like he doesn't. There's a reason why he's not given the epically large roles.
Oh my God! You did not just say that.
But do you know what you're doing now? Right? You're making me hate on the guy more than I genuinely want to.
Sure, because I've cornered you. That's perfectly normal. Work through it. It's therapy. You're in denial at the moment. We work through it.
Hear what I'm saying? It's not a Will Ferrell. I have no time for the guy. I just find him bang average. So I feel that if I'm watching a film, I'm just going to get that bang average feel. Now, I can look back at Natural Born Killers and feel like I feel the film had enough wacky for it to be out there. I'm not going to shit on his performance, but the film itself delivers and everything around him. I'm not going to say he was crap, But again,
Right.
I'm at this
Okay.
point.
This now reverse engineer it. Despite Woody doing his best, Venom didn't have everything going for it. That's not Woody's fault. The same way as you're trying to attribute greatness to natural born killers and disassociating it from Woody, I am asking you to be unbiased and extend the same level of courtesy to Venom too by acknowledging just because Woody's in it, if it's bad, that doesn't rest solely on his
It's
shoulders.
not solely on him. Bro, let's be honest. Let's be 100% honest. As much as we both enjoy Venom, it's not the world's most amazing. It's there you go film. So now, when you've got a there you go film, have it and enjoy it. And this is a different side of Venom. If you're not deep in the comics, you were. So you knew about your Agent Venom or whatever Venom he is.
Lethal Protector.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, that's something I forgot to fucking mention in the review. The movie, just the amount of times that they say lethal protector, lethal protector, lethal protector, lethal protector. It's like, can you stop? Can you please stop?
They probably say enough times for you to think, let me research Lethal Protector and Marvel and see that, oh, it's a different strain of Venom.
Bro, it felt like a freaking WWE piece of commentary when they're trying to promote the latest match, and every third word there says Elimination Chamber, Elimination Chamber. It's like, can you stop?
Yeah, I just felt like it. Put it this way, how can I say it? Again, not shitting on him. At that grand reveal, where it's like, oh my god, we have Cletus Clay, and oh my god, it's Woody Harrelson playing him. I was like, yeah, okay. It was good to see. It was good to see Carnage was coming. Like that will always rock my shit because I think Carnage isn't.
Yeah, and this is what fundamentally annoyed me. And I said this in the review is that if you think about it, not just in comic book movie history, in film history, this was a seminal historical moment. It is the first time we ever saw Carnage on screen. Like, you know, Venom, when we were growing up in the mid-90s, was a freaking pipe dream, but there was always this outside possibility. Maybe one day we can pray that Carnage was like, never. Like, that's not something that's going to happen in our lifetime. Lo and behold, here's Carnage, and they fluffed it.
This is the sad bit. I mean, there's no in between on it. It's just sad because I'm still hyped for the film.
No, don't.
I still want to see the film.
Temper your expectations, and you will enjoy it more.
I get that. But again, it's one of those things that.
And if you go in wanting to hate Woody, of course you'll hate Woody. But he was good in it.
Listen, the same way I just gave it away for the other film that you'll probably hear me talk about next week. Like, screw it, I'm sure everyone knows what film we're talking about right now. Like, I might as well say it, Zombieland. Like, I was like, you know what? But then, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just he doesn't excite me being on the bill. Like, it's that hype that we could go for with potentially Wahlberg for some people. Again, some people now more or less. Yeah, Andy says Wahlberg proves Nico's point as he is really good in a couple of movies, but he is giving good material. I get that. But then by the same nature, we're then saying that Woody's not being given good material.
Yes. In Carnage, that's exactly what I'm saying.
So Carnage, War of Planet Apes, so he's always
correct.
So essentially, the bang average guy is accepting the bang average roles because possibly everyone else has turned it down. Where are we going with it?
I know you're smiling out of the corner of your mouth, but nice reach and give up.
No, but do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, why was it Woody over someone else? Why does he always end up in the bang average films or the bang average scripts?
He doesn't always end up in bang average films. I've pulled two which I personally think are bang average.
And then we're going to say, but he doesn't have the masterpieces. So then we're going to take the one shining light that is.
Bro, Rami Malek, like, some people will say Bohemian Rhapsody is not good. You and me do think it's a masterpiece. A masterpiece is again all subjective.
This is opinion. This is why, like,
some people adore War for the Planet of the Apes, and I'm sure some people enjoy Venom to Let There Be Carnage. What I'm trying to get at is this beef you have with Woody. Where did man touch you? What did he do to you?
Bro,
does he owe you money? How much? I'll give it back to you if it means you stop hating him.
It was just a realization. Honestly, I just felt it was a realization that I overhyped him from like the young age. I was like, oh, Woody's ultra cool. And I just felt that watching it later on, it was like, okay, like, you're not terrible, but you're not great. That's all it is. It's not a physical hate, but I just feel like, yeah. So
Woody's like Arsenal Football Club then?
No, he's got better hopes than that. Come on. That was
fair play.
And that's coming from an Arsenal fan. Like we are, yeah.
Fair play. All right, look, 20 minutes in, I've tried, I've failed. And if I push any more, you're going to just hate him more, and we're not actually going to have a podcast.
I'm not gonna. It's not gonna change. Like I'm willing to see the film. At no point did I say I'm not gonna watch Venom because that's who they cast the thing. Like more chance I would have been a bit. Actually, Vin Diesel might have been cool, but like no, like I'm just
there you go.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like okay, had they pulled back the curtain, but I don't think anyone would have taken it seriously. Opened the cell door and it was Will Ferrell's about to be Cletus Clay. I don't know how I'd have reacted to that, but
Will Ferrell.
It's an interesting one because it could actually
not as Cletus Cassidy, definitely not.
No. You're looking for an eccentric kind of character. It wouldn't be the worst idea. Obviously,
no, we're not in the 90s anymore. We don't cast out there comedians in villain roles anymore.
Yeah,
the 90s had its Jim Carrey. We're done.
He can turn it down. He doesn't have to be the exact Will Ferrell. Which sounds stupid, but I'm saying he could kind of show you someone who's slightly out there. And the fact that they put a Will Ferrell-esque wig on Woody kind of proves my point. But we're not going to get into that. Just, yeah.
Anyway, 21 minutes in, and then after an utter miserable failure for me to understand where Woody Harrelson touched him when he was a child, AJ still hates Woody Harrelson, and I have failed. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's now actually talk about comic book movie villains.
Do you know what would be really funny? Is if I actually went in to watch Carnage and be like, I take it all back. Woody's amazing. But hey.
No, there is no way this movie is going to be the one to change your mind. Although I have to say, do you know actually what cheesed me the most? It wasn't anything to do with Woody when it comes to Carnage. It was, that kind of electric high voice that Carnage had in the old comic show.
They've given him a more deeper voice like Venom.
And it's like, no.
Yeah, no, you're right. It needs that kind of auto-tune. It needs that kind of weird auto-tune-esque voice.
He needs to be like high-pitched psychotic.
Not like Venom.
It didn't work for me. But that, again, that nothing to do with Woody. That was a creative decision that Andy Serkis who made that creative decision. For me, it didn't work, but there you go. Right, so should we talk about some cool shit?
Some bad shit, some villainous shit. I don't know if it's cool shit, but yeah, let's do this. So, but before we do, would you like to tell people joining us for the first time, aka Aaron?
What?
No, I just saw Big Tone. Oh, sorry. I was just shouting out my man Aaron, aka Aaron, and I saw Ant D and I was like, Big Tone. I thought he was calling me Big Tone. I've got thrown off, but yeah. Stop it. Of course you're gonna say that.
Ant D says, stop the Woody hate. Big Tone in the house. Love it.
I love it. But you know if there's ever going to be here we go. You're now saying the person on your side is Mr. Unlimited Power.
I know that really doesn't sit well with me, but sometimes you just got to take what you can get.
You got to take a win where you can.
You got to take a W where you can.
Right. Okay.
And for that one, every time he agrees with you from now on, I am throwing that shit right back in your face. Just let the record show that one.
That's fine. I can. Yeah.
Right. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, thank you so much for joining us. If you are new to the Movie Mount Rushmore podcast, you can find us on all podcast platforms, iOS, Android, and Spotify. And you can also find the Movie Mount Rushmore live every single week right here on our YouTube channel, Silver Screen Dudes. But how does the show actually work? AJ and I each get assigned a topic. Now that the cinemas are opening again, we can actually kind of relate our top 10s to what's coming out in the cinema. It's been 18 months, but it kind of feels amazing. We pick a different topic, we go our separate ways, and we come right back here, record, and deliver to you, the Silver Screen Dudes, our individual top 10s. This week, AJ will go first, delivering his bottom three. I will then deliver my bottom three. AJ will deliver his next two, that way. I will deliver my next two, and then we will trade one apiece. If at any time, while we are running off our individual top 10 lists, one person has a movie in a higher position, that person will say,
punt.
And we will punt and talk about that movie when we get to the higher position. Once we have both rounded off our individual top 10 lists, we will combine and create the Movie Mount Rushmore. These are the four quintessential, diverse, must-see movies, I guess, must-pick villains, in this case, of the genre. Characters, defining characters of the topic we're talking about, because we're technically not talking about movies, we're talking about characters. But there you go. So yeah, which this week is
Top 10 comic book movie villains. Now, I'm going to put it out there. I really wanted it to be more diverse than just Marvel and DC. I did have someone who was Dark Horse and didn't make the cut because I felt like that person's been brought up quite a bit.
Okay.
So I didn't make the cut. So it's sadly just Marvel and DC. I've taken it somewhat out of MCU, but we have to be honest, they've really honed in on making characters.
They did eventually. I think no one could argue that the first phase of the MCU, the villains were truly terrible.
I wouldn't say they were terrible. No, they're fine.
Bro, the villains were awful in phase 1. There was
So you
maybe
just said no
one
one could say they weren't. You just said, oh, so yeah, sorry, we're on point. Yeah, but there was one good one. There was one good one who sadly didn't make the list because I felt like he's redeemed himself. But
they weren't. You know, the whole of the Marvel canon has literally been about the glorification of the hero.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But much more so. Phase 3 was solid when it comes to actually praising the villains. Like phase 3 really brought the rain.
See, and this is where I have a problem.
Fine is the perfect word. Fine. He was just he was like Raw. He's just there.
But he was just there. The battle that you needed between Captain America and the Red Skull wasn't there. You know, like that's the ultimate arch nemesis, and it just wasn't there. It felt like he was to be developed and built, and then he just became a ghost who was telling you how to get a stone. Like, and that's taking it all the way back. Like, he could have been, that last person. I'm not going to bring him up. I'm sure he will potentially be brought up.
Yeah. I'm not putting that comment up, and just because that might very well feature on both of our lists.
Yeah. The other guy, I just knew wasn't going to make either of our lists, if I'm honest.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're kicking off this week, AJ. So what is your number 10?
My number 10. I toyed with this one quite a bit, but it was also partly for the Marvel DC mix. But I actually, because he delivered better than I think we both thought he would. And I called him Michael Cera a minute ago, but I am talking Jesse Eisenberg. I'm talking Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I think he actually done an amazing job in that. Batman versus Superman. You've seen the extended. I'll be honest, I just couldn't. Yeah, I just couldn't find the time to go for it.
So much
time to go for it. But I believe that what Jesse Eisenberg done at a point where I wasn't sure if he could own the character, he wasn't portrayed the way we're used to seeing the character. I thought, what will really happen? Yeah, as I said in the review back then, and I will say it now. The man who was able to put Superman on his knees without kryptonite. Like, it says a lot. Like, he was cunning,
and then
evil.
Still patronizingly give him a little chin lift.
Yeah, like it gave you the understanding that the concept for his hate is shady as fuck. Like, I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah.
But, you know, the whole, I would like to see who wins between the world's greatest heroes and all this kind of madness. And then what he develops after was an absolute heap of crap. Again, non-extended version of me talking here. You may say it's a bit...
No. Doomsday remains shit.
Yeah, Doomsday I just find Doomsday was just crap, right? It is what it is. But I think the initial points, there was something that... And without knocking it, I didn't really like what Gene Hackman...
It's perfect that you say Gene Hackman, because just as you say that, Andy
comes in, which just has me
and so does Big Tone. OG Lex over this one.
I don't know. Which way do you lean? Out of interest.
Listen, it's very, very hard just from acting pedigree to compare Jesse Eisenberg to Gene Hackman. It's very difficult because Gene Hackman is one of the all-time greats of Hollywood.
But I just feel that Lex was a tad too cheesy. I get it; it's for its era, but it doesn't have the dark side of Lex.
So this is
essentially you can relate to the comics.
The era argument is very good because for the era, it wasn't cheesy. Watching it in hindsight, in our era, yes, it's cheesy. But that type of comic book movie was what
was
the
around.
lexicon demanded at the time. You know, that's what was being demanded of comic book movies, and it delivered. I I'm a mad Jesse Eisenberg defender in that movie. That's the thing. So my point of view is slightly tainted, but if I'm being objective, I'd probably still lean original Lex.
I don't know.
Now, do you know what? Kevin Spacey.
I mean, that if we're gonna have a clear loser, that would be the one. But but I actually believe, from what everyone expected, I believe Jesse Eisenberg done really well. I believe, again, his end goal.
Read it. Read it.
I mean, he's still third to me. He's still third to me. He's
Andy Hart says even the now cancelled actor Kevin Spacey in a terrible movie was a good Lex Luthor.
He's a good actor.
He wasn't the problem with it. That script was awful.
Yeah, he is a good actor. He's just, there's something that's always mega creepy about the dude. That is, I don't want to be that person.
Big Tone says, what you know, Lex tried to wipe out the West Coast now. How is that not dark? Lol. You're being challenged on this whole dark thing. So on the one hand, we've got Gene Hackman trying to wipe out the West Coast. And on the other, we've got Jesse Eisenberg playing with his toys.
Yeah.
I'm being cynical here.
No, I know. If you break it down, but the character portrayal, like, just obviously the intent will forever be there. But portrayal just was that bit darker, and I like the way he did it.
Do you know, there's still a little part of me, and we're probably never going to see this play out now, given that they've just literally announced the Flash movie and they are going to hit the reset button hard on their universe. There was always a little part of me that thought that's not Lex Luthor. Not because of how he was being portrayed, but because I thought that there was this little insinuation that he's not Lex.
Is it Lex Jr.? I'm not DC canon enough, but like Lex Jr. or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got. I know it's going to be widely accepted now that no, he was Lex Luthor. Just my interpretation. Right or wrong, that's just how I saw him.
In a world of reset and what have you, and people being cast in different ways, and we're talking Michael Keaton like we previously did, we may find out that in one world or another, he may look at Gene Hackman and say, Dad.
Oh, don't tease me. That's such a great idea. That is... Gene Hackman's retired though, so that's not happening. But don't tease me. That's such
even if he looks at a picture of Gene Hackman, it could work. I'm just putting that anyway.
No. What is your number 9 then?
Right. So in at number 9 for me, you know this one is always a favorite of mine. Anytime we're going to bring up movie villains, here he comes. I'm talking Abomination.
Oh, so we are going phase 1. Okay.
Yeah, phase 1. Yeah, I suppose it does kind of classify as phase 1.
It's the second movie in the MCU, so
yeah. No, of course. Yeah, it was actually part of my box set, because sometimes I know they like to count it from Iron Man. Yeah, it was actually. It did come after Iron Man.
Came after Iron Man. Tony Stark made an appearance at the end.
Yeah, indeed he does. I just like Tim Roth's portrayal, and I believe, especially when we look at some of the earlier villain, like the original Hulk movie, which I thought was the actual Abomination. This had everything: the intent, the manic obsession to catch the Hulk, do whatever it takes to become the Hulk. I believe Tim Roth just delivered. It was more here. I can't remember the name of the character prior to becoming Abomination.
He was.
I just knew. Coming up.
He was a Russian. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, but it was that character that even when he first takes, I think whatever he takes, I don't want to call it super soldier. Was it the super soldier serum he takes at the beginning?
No, it was not the super soldier serum. It was something else.
Okay, but he takes something, and it's just the way he's just looking to go arm to arms.
I was just capping on phase 1 villains, Big Toe, and this is Ant's list. Talk to him.
But I as I said, some you can muck about with. But all right, Mr. Red Skull. Right. Anyway, I just believe that a man who was willing to go arm-to-arm combat with the Hulk deserves some respect. Okay, he eventually becomes something else, but I really
and then shows up in Shang-Chi, which was really fun.
yes. I looked at that. I was like, that's definitely meant to be Abomination. But
by the way, that's a massive Easter egg to something they're building.
I remember you saying this. If you want to, do you know what? Do you want to say it now?
Riri Thomas with the shout here. Sorry, here. Jared Harris would be like, take a bow.
That's an awesome shout. That's an awesome shout. I can go with that.
And in answer to Big Ton's question, no. He was a vessel to reinforce Iron Man. He wasn't a good villain.
It was the ultra predictable friend who stabs you in the back type villain. He, basic knowledge, that kind of crazy power. It just, if I'm honest, it feels like those knockoff Lex Luthors that you always get in a film.
Yes. Correct. Spot on.
That's what I felt with Obadiah Stane, even though he looked more like Triple H than Lex Luthor. But we won't get into that.
Latter years Triple H.
Yeah, but yeah. That's my point. That's my number 9.
Abomination's your guy. Be on the lookout for more Abomination in the coming years in the MCU. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Do you want to put out your theory so you can always say at 35 minutes on the 19th of October episode? I did tell you guys this was coming. The platform's yours.
So, Big Tone, you're going to need to maybe correct me on the name here, but I believe it's the Sons of Darkness that they're building to with Abomination. So they've got Abomination. Oscar Isaac playing Moon Knight is going to be there. They're going to bring Ghost Rider in. They're all going to form kind of like Justice League Dark. It's going to be like that, but in the MCU with all of kind of like these darker villains. Blade will be part of that too, I imagine. And I'm just saying, given the post-credit scene in Venom, no spoilers. I won't say what it is, but if you've seen it, you know what I'm saying. Given that post-credit scene, if for some reason now they do not attach Blade to the Morbius movie, oh my God, missed opportunity. Midnight Suns, thank you, Tone. Midnight Suns.
Will they? I'm actually going to put this out
they've set it up to be.
Bro, the problem we have, do you know what the problem we have, though? 1, Blade is a series, but 2, he's the actual Marvel property, isn't he not? Whereas this is a Sony production.
Of Venom. That's all I'll say.
I can only but take it, but I'm just saying,
If they mess that up, I'll say this. The synergy between Sony and Marvel is even stronger now.
Which is good.
It's great. It's absolutely great. But, oh my goodness, we really, really need to see Blade and Morbius crossover. Just saying. Anyway, Karen, what is your number 8?
I actually didn't think this guy was going to make it, but then I looked at the various iterations of him and how evil he can be, not in his first one, but the next 2. William Stryker.
All you, mate. That's all you.
You're not a fan, or you just?
You know my feelings on the Fox men. I don't think this, and I'm not picking on individuals and on moments here, but as a whole, I don't think we're yet to see an X-Men movie that really does justice to the franchise, to the IP. I include X2 in that. I include Logan in that. I include them all in that. I am yet to see an X-Men movie that has me going,
Your knowledge is deeper than mine, so I won't attack you or try to defend it. I can't. It would be stupid and redundant. I'm X-Men cartoonist and followed by the films, which I
even enjoyed. That then let's go off the cartoon only. You cannot tell me that we've seen a great, because there's nothing the movies ever did that comes close to that cartoon, in my opinion.
Listen, let's get one thing straight. The cartoon was an absolute masterpiece, right?
Why can't we have that in a movie?
Do you know what I felt was stupid, and I don't understand why? Yes, Hugh Jackman is.
Andy Hart's here. I know I'm going to get some hate for Days of Future Past now. Wait for it. Yeah, sorry. I just know that Andy Hart's going to throw some shade at me because he disagrees with me fundamentally on X-Men Days of Future Past, but that's fine. Big Tone says Stryker had potential but wasn't utilized. Yeah, I agree with that.
So this is the thing. This is why he's low, and there was a point where I nearly made him lower, if I'm honest. But then Abomination wasn't the world's greatest villain, and there wasn't the best outcome with this Lex Luthor. When you look at the actual, I will take X2 and Wolverine as the main.
Big Tone agrees with me. Facts about the X-Men animated series.
Do you know? Okay, let's take it in stages. I believe Fox's biggest problem was they became too Wolverine centered. It was just ridiculous, and it became
had no continuity, like zero. One movie to another, the story just completely changed. Fox was WWE. That's what it was. It's like something happened last week, but we're not going to address it this week. That was the Fox X-Men. There was some cool shit individually, but it never linked ever.
But this is the problem, and the more you tried to watch the films, and the more you had these origins, and it was like, again, I didn't need 3 stages of Wolverine and not one angle of Cyclops. Like it's stupid. It makes no sense. And then you've tried twice with the Phoenix, and
Tried twice with the Phoenix. Not really ever done Cyclops proper justice, despite what I thought was great casting on both occasions. Storm's never really had her dues. Freaking Gambit had one run. Gambit, most people's favorite, had one run. It's like
it was just the disorder, and if you think of it, some of the casting was amazing as well. Like bloody, I don't want to Kelsey Grammer as Beast. Like all of these stuff worked fantastically, but it just didn't go on. What's this? Yeah.
Read it out, please, mate.
This is Andy Hart. I disagree with you on Days of Future Past. I wasn't going to mention it as I intend to go to bed before they.
He's not wrong.
Welcome to the Movie Mount Rushmore.
He's not wrong. And Big Tone says, technically, though, Deadpool is a part of that universe. Technically, yes, but I see him as something different.
Yeah, but his continuity was okay. So we're going to say like there was 2 strands of actual continuity. Like, well done. And then X1 to X2. So now we've got
X-Men, there were 3 strands of continuity. That's how fucking
no. But what I'm saying is
it
that
got.
from point A to point B was actual continuity. It actually worked. You can even argue that with X1 and X2. After that, it gets messed up as hell.
Okay, are you ready for one of the best X-Men questions going around at the moment?
Go.
Riri Thomas says, who do you think will play Wolverine if they ever recast? I have always had my pick, Riri. For me, it's a super easy answer. No one ever agrees with me, but he's my guy, Zac Efron. Now, before you go, what? The guy from fucking High School Musical? No. Zac Efron from Parkland. That acting with the body of Zac Efron from Baywatch. Combine them together, make man grow some mutton chops. He is the perfect height. He needs to get a little bit grizzled around the beard, but he's got the shape of Wolverine because everyone's like, but he's short. It's like Wolverine's short.
Wolverine's mega short.
Wolverine's really short. He was never meant to be a 6'3" stage dancing Australian. That was just never on the cards. So Zac Efron, because of his physique and because of his acting chops, he is a world-class actor. And I really believe that. And man, has he got the physique. You know you're in good shape when The Rock says he's an animal.
Yeah. No,
oh my God, Andy Hart agrees with me on that. Yes, Andy. Thank you, my man. AJ, who would be your dream casting for Wolverine?
Wolverine is a tough one. And I actually leaned towards Zac Efron because since you put the idea into my head, I've not actually been opposed to it. But it's weird because I always see Efron in either one of 2 places, either Wolverine or he could also be a cool Gambit. Like I've seen both sides.
Yeah, he'd be a great Gambit.
I think he'd be a great Gambit. It's one of those things that's kind of difficult since you put it into my head and I can't dispute the fact. I think there was someone in my head, but it's like kind of long gone. I can't think who it was. And that's one of those silver screen approved like agreement things. Do you know what I would actually like? I would actually like to build a star in Wolverine. Like, let it be someone a bit more low key.
Well, like they did with Jackman, to be fair. Let's be honest. Wolverine is what built Jackman.
This is true. But if I ever had the X-Men rebooted, which is obviously coming, I wouldn't want it to be Wolverine focused. I would like him to be cool and present.
They won't. Given the way Marvel's moving at the moment, they're going to make it very female focused. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I've told you a zillion times, I think Storm in Wakanda is going to be the big catalyst to bring the X-Men over. And then from that, I believe they're going to lead with the Fantastic Four into Silver Surfer. And then they'll bring Bishop in. And then you'll get all the crossovers happening from there. So you've got black guy playing Bishop. You've got female playing Storm. In terms of I'm not pointing the finger in negativity, but they are very, very much doing the inclusive and diversity casting at the moment. Not just in terms of their casting, but in terms of the characters that they're portraying, which is a great thing. You know, if you've got a platform on which to do diverse and inclusive, by all means do it. And they're doing a great job of it. And the nice thing, the way Marvel are doing it, is that it doesn't feel like it's being shoved down my throat. For me personally, some people may interpret it differently, but we're living in a world where Shang-Chi has just been given a movie and it's just made a lot of money. That's kind of a great thing.
Well, this is cool. This is what it's all about, and that's what I just think. Like, I feel okay. We're generations apart, but I feel like we've been very heavy on Wolverine, and I'm not saying I just give it to anyone, not just anyone, because obviously Wolverine is a focal point of the X-Men. Ephron would be cool, but I don't mind if it was someone I've never heard of.
An unknown. Yeah, cool.
And I would like to see more development of the X-Men, because that's what made the X-Men cool. You looked out for Wolverine, but it wasn't exclusively Wolverine, and that's
wasn't just Wolverine. I looked out for Gambit. He was always my guy.
Yeah,
always.
But I am a Wolverine guy, but I was also a Gambit guy. I was also a Morph guy. I appreciated who Cyclops was. Like the fact that we've made Cyclops just some sideman as opposed to the actual leader of the X-Men. This is the part that really bugged me with it. And I love Jackman. I love what he's done with Wolverine, but I need more now. And that's why the recasting it's important, but it's not huge to me, with respect.
Riri Thomas says, if she wasn't already MJ, Zendaya is Storm. I mean, sure, great casting, but there's a plethora of really, really talented young black actors now. I mean, I would... Do you know, if she wasn't Domino in Deadpool 2, Zazie Beetz, I think, would also be a great Storm. There's a lot of people I could pull. I just wanted to go back quickly because, we're all about disagreeing on this show. Big Tone has said, where is it? Fox Films had 3 great X films, X2, Days of Future Past, and Logan. I semi-agree with one of those. And it's X2. And I semi-agree. I don't know if it's great.
Let's be honest, X-Men is not a shit film. You can legitimately go back and find
it. Yeah. So, I didn't say it's shit. I am waiting to see an X-Men movie that is on the level of Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Avengers, because the X-Men lends itself perfectly to something like the original Avengers movie treatment.
Of course.
I want to see I want to see a scene, that famous one track shot that why am I blanking? That Whedon did in the Battle for New York in Avengers, where it panned from Iron Man to Thor to Hulk to Hawkeye. That one continuous shot which followed all of them. Can you imagine that with the X-Men?
Do you know what X-Men actually needs? Do you know what X-Men needs? And correct me if I'm wrong. It probably needs a load of miniseries, which then develops into a film.
Sure, I'm fine with that too.
I think that would be something that could work to give each one enough of a character basis of who they are. I don't know if it necessarily needs.
But I want something grandiose from the X-Men.
Yeah, of course. This is what they deserve.
And I've never had it. And that's why nothing really X-Men has made my list. I think there's not been a point where they haven't gone and almost disrespected their own creation that they built up in a previous movie.
So I could agree with you, but I would look at the intent. And this is why I looked at Stryker, the way they used him in both Wolverine and X2. The way I think he's Endgame, as it were, without wanting to use that line too much in a comic book movie reference, a film topic, he was quite an evil git. Like the Stryker to me, again, I can only go from the cartoons. I saw him there and then. Like he could actually be quite underrated as a villain in the films. Like if you look at what he was doing in X2, essentially looking to wipe out.
In X2, I'll give it to you. In X2, I'll give it to you. Anything he did after that, I'm not interested.
Give him his credit in Wolverine. Give him his credit in Wolverine. The fact that he had these group of mercenaries that he was eventually, not only was he using them to do his deeds, he was soon wiping them out because he wanted to eliminate the mutant race, and the fact of who he's been able to create along the way. Like he was able to create some stuff. Like he was the creator of Wolverine, even though he had a huge hatred for the mutant race. I actually believe, again, he would never be high, like way up high. But the more I thought of it, I was like, what Stryker's actually done in those 2 films is, let's not ignore it.
I did. and just a few comments have come in. Big Tone says, as long as they do Rogue versus Captain Marvel storyline, and Andy Hart has agreed with that, saying Rogue and Carol Danvers. Yeah, AJ, you and me have been saying for the longest time that that's a story that we want to see. Ant has then said, Cyclops was my guy. Imagine how upset I was. Yeah, big time.
That must have hurt.
Big time. And now here's what pissed me off so much. You look at that last shot when they're all in the training room at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, where finally they're all in their proper X-Men attire. Like, we never had that. Cyclops had his proper, suit on. They all had their proper suits. And then what happened in the next movie? Gone. No suits. Fuck you. No suit. That's what I mean by Fox. It's like they give us something great and then they take it away. They are literally like Vince McMahon. And then Big Tone says,
love how I'm not the one doing the wrestling references now. It's like literally just let's
bro, fuck that, man. But then Big Tone says, what X-Men storyline would you want to see adapted? Well, given that we've got Scarlet Witch, it's got to be House of M. I want to see that storyline at some point.
House of M, but again, does House of M lead to Rogue versus Carol Danvers? Because that's what I want to see.
Rogue versus Carol Danvers can come before that.
I need to see that. Like, that's what
it has to come before that, because Rogue needs her powers.
Yeah, that's the first part I really need to see. I mean, again, I'm not the biggest part. I'm not in depth enough. I would like to see more of a Nightcrawler, because I think he was absolutely awesome in X-Men 2. But I really want to see Rogue and Danvers. That would be my first part. And Gambit, give me something Gambit, man. Fuck me. Like, we've been waiting.
See, Gambit lends himself really well to a series with all of his, pickpockets and thieving in the Louisiana bayous. That would be such good TV material. Anyway, so that was your 8, yeah?
Over to you, sir.
Right, my number 10 wasn't given as good a treatment as he should have got on the silver screen, but from childhood, he has always been one of my favorite villains in the Marvel world, so I'm bringing him in from Avengers to Ultron.
Sorry, my friend, that's a punt.
Oh, my G! Oh, we're punting. I love it. Is it because you've potentially rewatched?
I have rewatched. Listen, I will break it down. I will break it down.
Now?
I will give the credit when it comes through, but it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy with that. And big time. Yes, of course. We got to do an Avengers versus X-Men storyline. I'm calling that to be the end of Phase 5. I sincerely believe Phase 5 will culminate in that storyline. Then it'll stop because big guy Galactus is arriving for Phase 6. Again, you heard it here at 51 minutes on AJ, you make a note of all this. Declan, what's good, lads? I believe this is just a movie fan from Twitter. What up, Declan? Great to have you back, bro. And so that was my number 10. My number 9, bro, I've done what you've said, which is try to go something other than DC and Marvel. And you reminded me of this woman last week, Mama from Dread.
And that's why I actually left her out, because it was last week. There is a recall from last week. I'm not going to deny that. But yeah, we'll see.
Andy Hart says, Captain Marvel, like Superman, is too powerful to be interesting. Rogue could fix that. Yeah, that is actually a very valid argument.
Thank you, Andy. This is the problem. This is why
a very valid argument.
Huge problem with Superman in general. Like, I think Superman's cool, but it's like, who's the threat? And that's the situation
Kryptonite.
here. But it's always the same thing. On his knees for a couple of minutes, a laser blast.
But this is why Man of Steel is such a good freaking movie. But I'm sure we'll get into that. And Big Tone says, I'd like to see Fatal Attractions adapted. Agreed as well. And so that was, let's talk Mama then. So, Mama. Okay. Now, we were just talking about how the X-Men haven't been given their proper... Well, I was talking about how the X-Men haven't been given their proper dues on the silver screen. Man, it took them a long time for them to get their shit together with Judge Dredd. God damn it. And even then, when they did get their shit together, they had to cast the amazing Carl Urban and steal a movie plot from an Indonesian fight movie called The Raid. And finally, it worked. Also, Lena Headey helps. And in this case, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because you want to talk about... It's very hard for a woman. You know how they say talent is sexy? You know how people can... You hear women look at some ugly motherfuckers and go, oh, but he's sexy. And it's like... Talent is clearly sexy. Lena Headey is not a Jessica Alba. She is not one of the beautiful women of the world. She is not a Diane Kruger. I'm speaking about women who I fancy here, obviously. She's not an Alicia Vikander. But Lena Headey is talent, and talent is sexy. How they have managed to make a woman who effervesces self-confidence and sex appeal and talent so disgusting as they did in Dredd is a feat of excellence. And the reason she's so disgusting is because of her disregard for human life, because of her complete narcissistic personality disorder, because of her complete authoritarian, self-entitled sense of power. her belief that she is above the law. That's literally the crux of the whole movie. And that is why when you I say this every time, but that is why when you hear the line, "Mama's not the law, I am the law," it's that much more powerful than as Love Stallone, but his depiction of Joker, "I am the law."
Look, the thing is, it's a bit like, screw it, I'll bring it up now. With Dredd, you earned it. It wasn't just a throwaway line. It's a bit like hearing the words "assemble." Like it's
earned.
Yeah, you earned it. Like you had to fight for that shit. Every time you thought you were going to see it, it stopped. And it's the same here in Dredd. It's like you're waiting for it. You're like, oh, we're not just using it at every given second like Stallone did. To a degree, you could partially forget about it, and then it drops. He's like, oh god, yeah, oh my god, it sounds stupid, but it's like he's in Dredd mode now. Like, oh my god,
you have hit the nail perfectly on the head. The movie almost tricked you into forgetting the line because it distanced itself so much from the cheesiness of the Stallone one, and it made itself so gritty, which is, I mean, I'm sorry, if there was ever going to be a villain who you make hyper gritty, sorry, a hero who you make hyper gritty, it's fucking Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Like, this is Judge, Jury, and Executioner. This character is violent. Shit, man. Even the old Stallone movie, for all of its cheese, it was violent. Like, it was really violent. And yeah, it tricked you, as you said, into forgetting. And then when it drops, and it's because of how well they built the villain and the fact that Dredd at that point is so beaten down, it's literally like they've injected, the Venom serum into him, and he's gone burn. That's literally what he's done. He's hulked up. He's literally hulked up, and it's a thing of utter beauty. You've again a great example from you. It is that assemble moment. It is that lightning in a bottle moment that you wait for so long, and when you hear it screwed up so many times in the past, when it happens and it's done right, it's like, oh god, thank you. Just had a little nerdgasm. Fantastic stuff. Love it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It is that it's those and it's those parts that, as fans of comics, no matter which way you look at it, whether it be through cartoon, whether it be through the actual book, you know what you're looking for, and it's like, oh, they're not going to do it, and then you finally get it. You're like, thank you, you've answered my prayers. You've given me what I needed to complete this movie. So,
Andy Hart says, I have my top 10 made up of DC, 4 MCU, 1 X-Men, 10 other. I might be misreading that. My apologies. But Andy, so and this goes for everyone watching and for everyone who tunes
4 X-Men 1
and 1 other. Okay, yeah. So for everyone watching live now and for everyone who's watching this video in hindsight, wait until we get to the end of just before we deliver the Rushmore, then drop your top 10s, and it'll save us having to scroll.
Go for about worst. At the point of about worst, you can start writing.
At the point of about worst. Yeah. So Mama was my 9. 8, well, you were just talking about Superman. I said we were going to talk about him. My guy Zod, had to bring him in.
Do you know what? He was my 11. It actually hurt me to leave him off.
Nah, I had to bring in Zod. Just because, I mean, Big Tone agreed with me on this when we were on the comic book chat the other day. Despite how excited I am about that Batman trailer, DC keep letting me down. Like, I actually forgot that I'd seen the Suicide Squad this year, and I actually quite enjoyed it, but it was still pretty meh. It didn't have the cocaine bubblegum factor that the first one had. I actually, although the first one I recognize it not being a good movie, as I've said in the review years and years ago when we did it, I was dancing around. That was real. I was so happy coming out of that first Suicide Squad movie. I was like, oh my god, cocaine bubblegum, give it to me all day long. Stay off drugs, kids. But look, DC continuously let me down. Wonder Woman was good, let down by a weak third act. Wonder Woman 84 was so bad that it's actually...
it hurts me that I'm not even been able to finish that film. That's what hurts me about that one.
You are not missing out. It is all sorts of bad. The one, and I'm not including the Christopher Nolan movies in this, of course, the same way as I'm not including the Deadpool movies when I talk about the X-Men movies, right? But the only... and I believe great with a capital fucking G, the truly great movie that DC have done was Man of Steel.
Yeah,
is Man of Steel.
There was only one film.
Yes, DCEU, correct. Oh my God. And it gets better every time I rewatch it. And I'll be the first to say, the first time I saw Man of Steel, especially the beginning, the editing I found ropey as hell. It's like, we're here, we're there, we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. We're in different timelines of his life. It's like, oh my God, I'm actually not able to follow what's going on. Then when I rewatched it a few times, and I kind of, okay, I see what you're doing with the editing here. I get it now. Oh my God, this film oozes class.
This film, I'll give it to you, because I remember hearing, I think you said it and my brother said it, like, this is an awesome film. And I remember putting on the Blu-ray. It was the first Blu-ray I got. First Blu-ray
nice.
I got. It came
Good
free.
one.
I think it came free with my PS4, right, from Game. And I was like, I think it was that and Wolverine. I don't know how I got to. Anyway, it was one of my first Blu-rays. And I remember watching it and I was like, this is good, but what the hell am I watching? It's going here, it's going there. And I was like, yeah. But somehow, in all of this confusion, it pieces together. And by the time you get to the end, and it's a mind screw, it really is a mind screw to take in, you can't help but appreciate what you want. And this goes back to the argument, and I know Big Tone has said, I might as well bring it up now, like, if you look at, where is it? Superman, he says, look at the
animated
DCAU films. And I will agree with that. But again, go back to what I was talking about before, Superman, you kind of know the end result with Superman. This was different. Now, we had 3 Kryptonians in the original Superman. Yeah. And it was one thing. Superman versus Zod in this is the battle you truly expect. It's what you really need to see, because it's like for like strength. It's the challenges. It's also the understanding and becoming of this superhero. It's essentially a coming of age.
Yeah. He's not Superman yet. That's what I found so wonderful about this. He may be wearing the red cape. He's not, for me, officially, he's still discovering himself. He's still figuring out what his place in all of this madness is. He has to make the decision in this movie to renounce his Kryptonian identity. He makes a calculated choice to side with humanity in this, not his own race. Like, that is Greek tragedy levels of powerful. It's an odyssey, that movie. It's so goddamn good.
It's a great film. It's a lot. It is a lot. I'm not going to deny that, but it's worth it. It is worth it. It's all kinds of awesome.
And I'm sorry, if you want a good performance, every single fucking time you cast Michael Shannon, you know what you're getting with Michael Shannon. You're getting crazy. You're getting nuts, and he does it so goddamn well. He's such a good Zod. It's ridiculous.
I can't disagree. No, Zod was on my list, and then I put some others, and I put it together. I was like, oh damn, I didn't put Zod in, and I kind of just stuck with my list at that point.
What is your number 7, AJ?
All right, my number 7. I need to revisit this film, but it's a guy that I've always appreciated as a villain. I didn't even know he was a Marvel villain when I first saw him.
Ooh,
even though I think it may have said it, I'm talking Stephen Dorff as Deacon Frost from Blade.
Well, what do you know? Because that's my number 7.
Coincidence in terms of number in there. It was just everything. Blade. Let's get it straight. Is the reason we as comic book movie fans are grateful for what's coming next. Like it took it to another level. It showed us something. It was so deep. People didn't even know it was a comic.
It was a comic book movie, exactly. Yeah. People were like, oh, it's a cool vampire movie.
Yeah, and this is the funny thing.
Movie.
I think I recall seeing Marvel and I was like, huh? Marvel? Okay. You know, it didn't even register at the beginning. But everybody, it wasn't even marketed as a Marvel movie.
No, not at all. It was marketed as a Wesley Snipes vampire movie.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's the cool part. And it's only a lot later. It was weird because you happened to watch Blade, and it should have been the other way around, but this is where it was. I happened to have watched Blade, and then I'm going back to Fox Kids, and I'm like, hey, Blade and Spider-Man. Like, it really?
Like, the animated series, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. They did the Morbius storyline with Blade in that too. This is what I'm saying. So I'm not nuts. All right, cool.
Yeah. So it was there, and I just feel that when you look at the power of Blade the Daywalker, and you know the rules of vampires, which we all adapt to, apart from the Twilight stuff where they glow, we all know that they can't come out in the light. They can't do this. They can't do that. And here we are. We've got a man who's part human, part vampire. He's a Daywalker. And you see the Vampire Council led by Stephen Dorff. And then comes a point where Deacon Frost is actually out in the daylight as well, and you're like, what the fuck? And then it's the point of what he done to Blade's mother, and it just all intertwines. He oozes with cool and he oozes with evil. Like it was the perfect mix, the absolute perfect mix of what you would need. And it was just all kinds of awesome.
Do you know what I love about Stephen Dorff? And he does this in all of his movies, but he does it so well in Blade, is how he can switch on a dime.
Yeah.
Like that opening scene when you see him, when he's with that police officer, you know, because they've got their mules. It's the police officer reporting to him. And he's like, do I seem upset? And then he just fucking launches at him. It's like, oh, yes, I forgot this film is rated hard R.
Isn't it just?
Hard R.
Yeah.
We can't not talk about the line. Some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. Oh man, I'm sorry. Blade made comic book movies cool. This is all in hindsight, of course. Like we did, because as you said, people didn't realize it was a comic book movie at the time, except the very, very few. But you know, you see the Marvel logo at the beginning. It's almost like that. You know, Dune. It's almost like it's based on the book. It's like, okay, we're basing it on a comic. That was almost, I think, how people took it on.
But it was, like, I think it was this weird bit where
comic
people
book movies cool before comic book movies were cool.
Yeah, I think even when you see Marvel, they might have just thought it was the studio who were involved in it. I don't think they actually took it to the origin of this guy's a comic book character. It felt, honestly, people saw it as like an original character. Yep. Little did they know it's from the brains of Marvel Comics.
Beautiful thing. Yeah. Deacon Frost, what a villain. What is your number 6?
Right, my number 6. Bear with me a second. It was the PUNT from earlier.
Yeah,
I've kind of felt like my 5 and 6 should be swapped, but screw it. I'm where I'm at. I've done it this way.
Okay. Ultron.
I'm talking Ultron. Now, I'm going to put a big shout out to the man I called AA Ron earlier, and Aaron is the actual name, AA Ron, obviously. And we were talking, and I was just talking to people today because let's be honest, comic book movie villains is a revisit. And I was trying to be different, and I kind of put the word out to a few people. So, like, I spoke to Rita, who kind of reminded me of Stryker. You know, certain bits came out, and then I'm looking at Ultron, and I was like, yeah, I get what you're saying, and Ultron was going to be on the list, and I was like, my key thing to everyone was, don't mention someone else who I'm sure we'll both be mentioning later on, yeah, as a comic book villain, especially in the MCU. He's like, yeah, that guy's good, cool. But Ultron, man, like, do you realize there was multiple Ultrons? Like, it was all the Avengers against this guy. This
he
guy
bitched them. I'm sorry.
This guy was able to insert himself into all of these characters, so they were all facing an Ultron at the same time. And I was like, this is cool. Plus the evolution of Ultron, which is mega cool. Now, there is one key thing in this. Now, I don't think they're in your list, that I nearly went for over Ultron, and it's not that we can't deny either. Is the power of Wanda in this, right? Now, you can't deny what she brings to the table, but the fact that she redeems by the end of the film, I couldn't put her down as a villain. But what he does, and the fact that the mind control shit, the way she can control people, short of Hawkeye. But what we have to remember is, in a world, and this is what makes Ultron more powerful now than I think it could even happen in the time that Ultron was created in comics. Ultron not only killed Jarvis, but Ultron was the internet. Ultron was everywhere and anywhere. And the fact that he could cripple the world in something we are all so dependent on.
Did.
Yeah, well, essentially, yeah. And this is the problem.
The Sokovia Accords exist because of him.
Yeah, of course. And this is where you're like, aha. And, you know, again, one of the key things you've always said is you can relate to a villain. You know, the sign of a good villain is this. But Ultron was not developed to be a villain, but it's the way he consumed the information. Because again, this is Tony Stark and the Hulks and Bruce Banner's creation.
Was a scared child. That's what he was. Ultron was a scared child. That's why I found him so compelling. That, and God Almighty, James Spader with that voice of his. But it's like that opening when Jarvis is trying to calm him down, and he's just, no, I'm just having a look, and he's browsing, and then he starts seeing the atrocities that mankind has created over the years, and he's no, this is all wrong. It's all wrong. You know, he feels abandoned by Tony. He feels like he doesn't have a place
but
in
there's
the world.
also becoming Tony pre-becoming Iron Man. Like he's just as arrogant and sees the world from a different perspective, which leads him to be like, well, this is how we right the wrongs of the world. You know,
Right.
it's all there, and it's just how you choose. Again, yeah, scared child, but it's also, you know, there's a thing that I should have uploaded the picture. I've seen this. I don't know if you've ever seen the meme of two people arguing over a 6 and a 9. And it's like neither of us are wrong. It's perspective over which way you're looking at it. And it's the same thing here with Ultron. It's just like he chooses. He's digested the same info. He's just seen a different solution, and that's what. Yeah, ultra powerful. The evolution of Ultron. Yeah, I should have made him my number 5. I should have made him my
And
number
bro, let's be under no illusion. We are still feeling the effects of Ultron to this day in the MCU. Like, don't let it be fooled that just because he was in one movie, like they still talk about the Sokovia Accords now. They still talk about, you know, Wanda losing her parents, and you know, the effect, the long-reaching effects that Ultron left in his wake was
It's not to be underestimated.
huge.
I will be honest, and I know a lot of people may agree or disagree. It took me, and I'm not shitting you, about 4 times of watching Ultron to really appreciate what.
Oh, I
it's kind
don't
of
get
about.
that.
No, honestly,
I mean,
I felt it dragged. I understood certain bits, but I couldn't connect with the film. It's only upon this
wow.
revisit. It's only upon this revisit with the missus when I've done every film back to back. And I think that's one of the things. You need to see the build of what's going on and really digest it all. If you take it as a standalone, yeah, you can appreciate it, but not as much. Because I think, especially because it's an Avengers movie, you're looking for that Avengers hype that you potentially got from Assemble. Yeah, but it's got again, it's the difference between phase 1 and phase 2. It's the way you have to approach it. It takes a slightly smarter, slightly more cunning approach, and it delivers, but it helps to watch them in that order.
To this day, I'll never forget it, because much like the journey you're going through with your missus now, I remember getting Anya hooked on the MCU, and she got into it a few months before Avengers 2 came out. So I showed her everything up until then, so I didn't have the mammoth task that you had, luckily. But I remember...
Oh, it was a good task, though. It was a fun task. It was a fun task.
I'm sure. I have no doubt. But I remember telling her about the arrival of Ultron, and she was like, "Oh, robot, really a bit lame." I was like, No. I need to edutain you on Ultron. And I explained who he was. I explained his history. I explained that there are some versions where he even gets hold of the Infinity Stones. And she was like, "Oh, he's that powerful." I'm like, yeah. He can wield the gauntlet. He's that powerful. He can actually put the stones into his suit, for Christ's sake. He's that level of power, Ultron. And she was like, "Okay, I'm interested now." And I'll never forget. And we shared this excitement when that first trailer dropped, the first trailer for Avengers 2 dropped, and it was almost horror-esque, and they played that kind of rehash of the Pinocchio "No Strings on Me," and it ends with you, because all you hear is Spader's voice for the whole thing, but it's that final shot where he's away and he turns to the camera and goes, "There are no strings on me," and it was like, that's my guy. That's my childhood on screen. I lost my fucking mind when I saw him for the first time. It was a thing, and she lost it too. So it was a thing. I say she because my bedroom's there if you're watching online. But yeah, it was a thing of utter, absolute joy hearing that voice and seeing him live. I mean, but do you realize the age we're living in? We are living in an age where we are talking on a podcast about a freaking comic book character called Ultron, who's a sentient robot born from a computer program in a comic book film. It's like, it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time.
It's something to be appreciated. Like, let's be honest. There could have been a time that a podcast would have been recorded on tape. You guys, there would have been no chance
It's a
of
radio
catching it
show.
live. And then what would have been the top topic? We would have been talking about David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury. It's weird, and it's something to be grateful for. You know, the fact that a robot doesn't have to be essentially Ultron. Let's be real, Ultron could have looked like freaking RoboCop. Like, I'm not knocking those films, but you get where I'm going with this. It could have
completely.
Been
You could have
wrong.
looked cheap as all hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ultron was your 6, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Mystique also slightly on the robotic side, and very Greek tragedy-esque, from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man to Dr. Octopus.
I toyed with Doc Ock. I'm not gonna lie. I toyed with him.
Oh shit! You left him off.
I toyed with him.
I was waiting for the punt. Right?
No.
Okay. Wow.
Spider-Man 2 is my favorite. I think it could actually be my favorite Spider-Man movie. Period.
Ugh. Do you know what? Weirdly, how much of a Peter Parker guy I am, I still might lean into the Spider-Verse. That movie's so good.
It's
movie
cool.
is so good.
It's cool. But if I'm gonna work with like Spidey being with what I'm working with, I think Spider-Man 2 gave me everything I needed. Short of a train scene, which I tried to rectify in Justice Avengers. Hit me up if you want to know more. But yeah, like I just don't. Yeah, short of that train scene where like the whole world wants to hang him up like he's Jesus and just put the mask back on him. I liked everything. Yeah, there was everything you needed from a Spider-Man movie in that film.
What I thought Sam Raimi did really well, and this is comparing it not necessarily to the comic run, but to the comic book cartoon run. You know, Otto Octavius on the Fox animated show was very out there as a villain. He was a bit like he was a bit Mad Hatter-esque, you know?
Yeah,
he was
a
little bit zany. They toned it all down. They gave him a real story of loss. And what made it so wonderful, you know, we were just talking about Ultron seeing things from a different perspective, the 6 and the 9 example. Peter and Doc Ock are the same in this movie. Peter's had a loss. Uncle Ben, great power, great responsibility. As a result, he's become Spider-Man. Doc Ock has lost the one he loves. His own fault because of, experimentation and all that. He goes another route. That's what's so interesting, and that's why this is it's almost Shakespearean, this movie.
Yeah.
But it's really beautiful the way you've got these two characters playing off against each other. And it is honestly a thing of beauty seeing Dr. Octopus on screen for the first time. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see him back for No Way Home. I really can't.
When he says hello, Peter, that is a good one. Just want to say, while we were talking about the whole being able to talk about Ultron on a podcast, and I was big tone. Well, I couldn't agree more. The golden age of comic book content.
It is. Long may it continue for now.
Yeah.
Until someone makes dud, until someone in the MCU makes a dud, because DC are more duds than successes. But anyway, I'm not a DC hater. You'll see later in the list. I'm absolutely not a DC hater. I don't have faith in the movies they're putting out. I will go and see them, but I'll always go into a DC movie feeling like I don't know what to expect. With Marvel, my standards are high. With DC, they're tempered.
I get that. It's their own fault. Like, no one can
completely.
I always say it though. I think it's because Marvel had the correct formula in building the universe, and they tried to not follow that example. And in doing that, it created a problem. Whereas had they followed on directly after Dark Knight and Man of Steel and built the characters from there, the DC EU could have been a complete different place. And they just still don't shit. A lot of stuff.
They're gonna hit the reset button with the Flash. Anyway, what's your number 5?
I'm actually regretting it being my number 5. Like, my 6 and 5 really should have swapped around, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm talking Magneto. I believe it's more the passion for. Again, I understand what you're saying on the Fox level. Big tone. Just at the point, Justice League should have been the biggest comic book ever.
Oh, it should.
Especially if you were to take it for animation to animation. The Avengers cartoon had nothing on Justice League. Plus, It's got the Holy Trinity of heroes. Let's be honest.
There is no arguing that the 3 biggest heroes of all time are Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Nothing comes close to them. Comic book sold, fame, notoriety, iconicity, nothing comes close to them. The only thing Marvel have that is even maybe in the argument is Spider-Man. That's it.
And Hulk.
Even less so.
But there's that. And, and then you add in something, even if you're going to go to like sub-tier, everyone will say Flash over Quicksilver. Like, Quicksilver's not even a name to people. Like,
Quicksilver for me all day long, but yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, if you're going to talk
iconicity, the Flash is more famous, of course.
It's sad. But anyway, we're at a point. Sorry, one more comment before I go into the Magneto.
Yes, Declan means the Snyder Cut. Now that I completely freaking agree with. The Snyder Cut is a thing of fucking beauty compared to the original. Snyder Cut's a wonderful experience. I loved it. I'm completely with you, Declan. Right, sorry, back to your number 5. Yeah, Magneto, mate. This is all you, and it goes. I'll let you run with this, but I'll just say.
Do you know what?
I go back to my comment
what
before.
You say, and I think, and I have to be honest here. It's the love of the actual character from previous Law and the actors who have portrayed him. The more I look at it, as I pressed 6 for Ultron, I was like, "Fuck me, this was the wrong order." Right? It's like I think both these gentlemen have done awesome,
amazing,
absolutely awesome. I'm talking Michael Fassbender and oh my god, I've gone blank. Please,
Sir Ian McKellen.
Thank you very much. I played awesome Eric Lenscher, aka Magneto, and they've delivered everything we needed from the character, but their storylines have been fluffed. I think the conflict of who Magneto is has always been well portrayed, short of the fact of Magneto hiding in the woods, which we won't get into right now. But it's the torment behind him. I think he's always been that guy. As much as I said I wouldn't put his daughter Wanda in there because of redemption, as much as we all see a redeeming side to Magneto, he always ends up fluffing the lines and ends the film as a villain. And that's what I've always liked about him. I think X-Men and X2, what we got from Magneto with Ian McKellen was absolutely wonderful. I'm not going to acknowledge X3 in any.
No, please don't.
And then let's say we looked at a timeline recast. We went back and then we took Michael Fassbender in the role, and you're like, oh my god, like you've got a challenge ahead of you. And the friendship that was built between Charles Xavier and Eric Lenscher into building this foundation of the X-Men and what leads to him. And that's what I love, the torment that we see that leads to him making the decisions he makes in First Class are actually beautifully told.
Which is the best X-Men movie, in my opinion.
I always remember this. I don't know how I got it on YouTube. I said it before and I'll say it again. I found it on YouTube. At a time I even thought I saw it on YouTube and I was like, huh? It can't be First Class. And the more I watched, the more it continued. And
I think Marvel will finally do Magneto justice? AJ, I think the time has come to say to our viewers what my opinion on where they should take Magneto is, no?
I mean, go for it.
You've always liked the idea, haven't you?
I've liked the idea. I think this is a stellar history of acknowledging it, but because we have to use timelines in where they are in our current times, same way Captain America's frozen, so you can use World War II. It's not so easy to use World War II.
Correct. So, in answer to your question, Declan, and by the way, guys, if you are not following Declan at Just a Movie Fan on Twitter, please do so at Just a Movie Fan. My boy really knows his movies. So,
hold on. Just before you drop your point, Big Tone says if they adopt Fatal Attraction. I can't say because I don't know what the hell that is. But
going back to this point, are they finally going to do Magneto justice? So, the more I've actually said this in the years, whether we were on K2K radio, whether we were on our non-visual version of this podcast, this story's been in my head a while, as you know. What is it that has created Magneto? Why has Magneto become the person he is? Now, the existing canonified storyline is World War II. You know, he's Jewish, so he was an Auschwitz survivor. But being Jewish and surviving Auschwitz are not, I would argue, what intrinsically make him. Auschwitz isn't a singular event in history. What makes Magneto is seeing the pure, utter evil of mankind, and that evil having a direct effect on him. You could make Magneto Asian at this point from Cambodia, having survived the killing fields. It's a genocide. He could be He could be Armenian, having survived the Turkish genocide. Here's where I would love to see them take Magneto. I would like them to make Magneto black. And I'm not doing it for woke points. I am not doing it for inclusive points. Let me break this down. One of the worst and most... It's not the only, but it's one of the most publicized tragedies in Africa is the Rwandan genocide. the Hutus, and the Tutsis. Now imagine this. You're a survivor of a genocide like that, much like you're a survivor of the Auschwitz genocide. The two are essentially interchangeable. The fact that he is a Polish Jew versus a Rwandan has zero bearing on the character. The fact that he is a genocide survivor and the fact that the genocide has had a direct impact on him is essential. The Rwandan genocide is far, 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 far closer to the existing MCU timeline than World War II is, obviously. And if you're in doubt, the easy cop-out actor to cast as Magneto, watch everyone agree with me here. You cast Denzel. Everyone will lose their mind if they hear Denzel Washington is in an MCU movie. But I would actually go as far as to say that that would be a cheap escape route for me. Because then the argument is, of course, oh, obviously, if they're going to cast Denzel, of course we're going to love it. Of course. Here's where I'd like to go. I think Giancarlo Esposito should play Magneto. There are very few actors.
Got a similar look.
There are very few actors on the planet who are as menacing and who are as effective villain actors as Giancarlo. Giancarlo was in Breaking Bad. Giancarlo was one of the Grand Moffs in the Mandalorian. Declan agrees with me. Thank you so much, Declan. I appreciate that. Giancarlo Esposito playing Magneto as a Rwandan genocide survivor, being fully informed by the evil of humankind and being of about the right sort of age. You know, he's an elderly gentleman, but you kind of need that for Magneto. Let's not be under any illusion. Ian McKellen's an old dude, and he was even in X-Men 1. So having an older Magneto is not a problem. We've already seen that the audiences can buy into an older Magneto. But I think it would be not only, you get your diverse and inclusive points, which the Woken Warriors will be happy about. But as I said, I am not doing this for woke points. I am doing this because I actually think it fits the story. I think this is organic as hell. A Rwandan survivor, a Rwandan mutant who is now on a rampage, played by Giancarlo Esposito, I think is amazing. And Ant says he's in everything but excellent casting. He literally is in everything at this point. He's even in Far Cry 6, which, by the way, I can't wait to play. But yeah, do I think Marvel will finally do justice to Magneto? Listen, their decision doesn't, the answer to that doesn't solely rest on him being a Rwandan mutant genocide survivor, because there are much smarter people than me at Marvel Studios writing these amazing scripts. One of them notably Mr. Kevin Feige, right? I'm sure they're going to find an amazing story for him. I think Marvel are going to do justice to the X-Men, absolutely. And I think they are absolutely going to do justice to Magneto. But my God, do I want him to be a Rwandan played by Giancarlo Esposito so much. So much!
Again, the Denzel part sold me so much that it's kind of hard to unsee it, but I'm not disagreeing with anything you say. Do you know what's hit me now? And my only twist, and it's because there are certain, as much as I always say it, I was the guy when it comes to comic books. I didn't read the comic books, but I've done more research than most when it comes to getting my comic book knowledge down. Cartoons, Wikipedia was a very good friend of mine, and everything else in between. Right at a time when I was writing a script, one of the laws I would still like to see respected is the fact that he is Wanda's dad, which then makes it very difficult to have a black man.
Very difficult, yes.
So
it also kind of makes the House of M storyline nigh on impossible.
Here comes the sad bit. So I think that's awesome. The other part would be he did survive Sokovia in one way or another, and that's what's led to him being so resentful against.
I mean, we've been told that Wanda's parents are dead at this point. So.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna again
remember Wanda's not in this canon. Wanda's not related to Magneto.
Yeah, and especially that part where we thought we saw this. You have seen WandaVision where they let us down into believing that Pietro was there, because that clash. Because as much as it didn't work age-wise, we did have that throwaway line of Magneto was my dad from Fox, from Quicksilver. Again, yes, this is very true, Declan. She could be adopted. I always remember this, and I have to bring it up. I know it's not going to come up in our list.
Fantastic Four,
where we're all like, oh, So the black guy had to be adopted, right? No, it was the other way around. We were all judgmental.
It's great, wasn't it?
We were all judgmental. We were all fools for that. So yeah, he could well have adopted 2 kids. But then it's the technicalities of where the multiverse will allow certain things to take place and make sense. Whereas in this current iteration, we clearly saw Wanda looking at 2 white parents.
Just watch Venom 2, what they do with the multiverse. Oh my god. That's the only thing that is worth seeing Venom 2 for, is that multiverse stuff.
The problem,
oh my god.
I told you off live, I can't say off camera because we were on camera, we were talking. That is the next mission for the missus. So we have to see Venom, but I've told her, and it's a journey I'm actually quite looking forward to. We have to do every Spider-Man again. I have no time for you to be confused when you see potentially 3 different men in the same costume and ask me why is who. No. So that's the next mission. So I'm very much open for this multiverse, and it can correct certain things. We might be able to bring back Pietro with the cool Pietro that we had there. Like, there were so many ways. And yeah, in one world she could have been adopted by someone, but the fact that WandaVision showed us her looking at her parents.
Do you know what? I know we're talking about villains on this podcast, and Riri asked us who should play Wolverine. I said Zac Efron. If you tuned in later, I gave my reasons for that earlier. We've been asked who should, about Magneto. Do you know who I think they've got a freaking nightmare to cast is Charles Xavier? I cannot for the life of me think of a dream casting for him.
The problem is the dream casting already took place. That's the problem.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah.
That is the problem.
Sir Patrick Stewart.
He was everything. I remember watching
Sir Ben Kingsley.
He's already in the universe, though. That's the problem. And I love the way they spun that on Shang-Chi. They corrected their wrongs. Trust me, there
so much.
Oh, mate. But
I really don't know. I mean, some people, funny fuckers, are like Jason Statham, and it's like, shut up, just shush.
This relies on his Breaking Bad appearance, but maybe Bryan Cranston.
Ooh. Actually, do you know what? Oh, Bryan Cranston and Giancarlo Esposito again on camera. Yeah, fucking it's Breaking Bad, X-Men. you got Bryan Cranston playing Xavier and Giancarlo playing Magneto. Oh, sign me up! I love that shit. That's actually amazing.
How did the X-Men get their powers? They were cooking it up.
Overlay. Yeah. Crystal blue persuasion.
But yeah, no, I think Bryan Cranston could be a good Xavier.
Yes, he could, but Bryan Cranston could be a good anything.
Yeah.
That's quite a good shout. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it more because of my Giancarlo Esposito casting. I'm not going to lie, but yeah.
But yeah, so Magneto is it's the respect of the character. And I think the story, both actors delivered the story awesomely. Fox has been a bit of a mess, but you can't not respect Magneto, put it that way.
It was their lack of respect for him that made me not pick him.
Yeah, I get that. Andy, this obviously, that's why I put the picture up of both. No, that was the villain. But yeah, no, both James McAvoy as well as Patrick Stewart were absolutely awesome.
Riri, yes. Riri's on fire with the casting choices today. Dacre Montgomery as Gambit. Oh, I love that. AJ, you know who Dacre Montgomery is.
Yeah, I was just thinking of Stellan Skarsgård as Xavier. It's also kind of got me.
That's actually a very good shout.
I'm like, oh,
very good shout, but he's already in the universe, remember?
You've
just blanked, haven't you?
It just had me. No, I'm not blanking. I was just picturing it, and but okay.
He'd be a great Xavier, but he's already in the universe, sadly. Dacre Montgomery as Gambit. I'm all for that, though. Oh, Dacre Montgomery and Zac Efron, young X-Men. Yes, love it. So that was your 5. All right, my 5. I'm showing a bit more love to the ladies. I've had Mama. I've now got to bring in Lady Death herself, Hela.
Guess what? My number 4.
My guy.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the reasons I say that the villains in Phase 3 are so good. You had her. Well, I can't say them because they're coming up. But basically, the third phase of Marvel movies just said, we need to do some villain shit. We need to stop glorifying the heroes.
They did. I'm just thinking, was it Phase? There were some fluff lines though in 2 and 3. I mean, there are some that are.
There's been fluff lines everywhere.
True.
There's been literally some fluff lines in all the phases. There's still not, other than Thor: The Dark World, there's still not really been a terrible Marvel movie, I would say. The Dark World was legitimately awful.
I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just going to leave it there before you start attacking.
All right. Yeah. But Hela was a revelation, man. I thought,
absolutely.
I mean, let's be clear. She kind of won. Like, Asgard is no more.
This is it. It's a small island in somewhere, but like, yeah. The official...
Don't worry, bro. As long as the foundations is still there, we can still repair it. Oh, the foundations are gone. No, it's gone, bro. Oh no, it's gone. Oh man, Hela is listen. It's kind of like one of those cheap, cast Denzel as bloody Magneto. Of course, it's going to be good. Cast Kate Blanchett in anything. Obviously, it's going to be good because it's Kate Blanchett.
But it's the power of, even if you take away the actress, depending on which way you want to go along with the line of this, right? It's the power of this character. When you look at the Mighty Four, strongest Avenger, though he wasn't listed as it in Tony Stark's eyes, but he's one of the, he could actually throw with the Hulk. This, he's kicked Loki's ass 100 times. He wasn't able to do his big sis. This is the one that Daddy had to hide. This is the one who built the foundations of Asgard. This is the one who destroyed the Asgardian army, as far as I'm concerned. It was the villagers who was in the final fight. Like, Thor's best buddies, they got smacked the fuck up around. There was no in between on this. Like, she destroyed. She commanded power.
She did.
Yeah.
Her acting was on point. Her lines, I thought, were really funny. You mentioned the destruction of the Asgardian army. It was that time when the first part where she arrives in Asgard and she declares who she is. I am Hela, daughter of Odin, yada, yada, yada. I'm here to take over. Who are you? I literally just said it. It was such a great insinuation of men don't listen to women. I was like, well done, Taika. See, now that's a fun way to be kind of, gender profiling and a little bit sexist without being offensive. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then she proceeded to bitch slap the living hell out of all of them. But yeah, Hela, played by I said Galadriel nearly. Ha, lol. Hela, played by Kate Blanchett, is one of the strongest villains in the MCU. I still would like to see if they're going to tie her into actually being Lady Death, the interest of...
But does he even have any relevance?
That ship has sailed now. Yeah. I appreciate it. Speaking of tie-in, I would also really, really love to see them just go back to the Ultron timeline. Because remember, the last surviving Ultron robot, we never actually see him get eviscerated.
This is true. Just want to answer your question, Declan. It is just the movies. Trust me, it is so tempting. It is so tempting sometimes to go down the TV route, but no. This is movies only. Movies only.
The movie Mount Rushmore.
That's the one.
Yeah. Hela, my number 5. Your number 4? Was your number 4?
Yeah, that was my number 4.
My number 4, I have a feeling, is about to be your number 3 then. My number 4 is... Where's my guy? Where have you gone? Sorry. I'ma burn it down. Eric Killmonger.
You're damn right.
You see how well I know my guy? My 4, your 3.
I will say this, and I will continue.
Upstaged Chadwick.
The Black Panther movie
is dead without him.
Black Panther was seen in Civil War. The Black Panther was not seen in the Black Panther movie. I keep saying it. As far as I'm concerned, and people are talking about maybe like Black Panther 2 should be called Wakanda. No, Black Panther 1 should have been called Wakanda because it showed us who the people are, what they have, and what they own. Like what makes them so great, what gives them the power that they have. The one that we were forever waiting to see on screen was Michael B. Jordan. It was Eric Killmonger. That's where shit got interesting. I always say it, we saw different parts. It's down to the point of when you see him in the museum and he starts asking about all the different artifacts. And she says,
this one's from Benin. Nah, it's from Wakanda. Oh,
and he just the way he just talks about literal cultural appropriation. Like, no, that yeah. You guys take all of this is our shit, and this is what it's about. And he just gives it's chronic history lessons, which essentially make more sense. And this is the one I always have this argument of, like, I get character reveals in this film. As much as I didn't agree with it, I still have the qualm about I am Iron Man. I like secret identities. It's just who I am. The whole situation of Wakanda's now just going to be releasing vibranium to the whole world just doesn't. How are we meant to logically work with this? Yeah, his fight made sense. You know,
Yes.
it was the wronged prince essentially.
It's King Lear.
Yeah.
It's King Lear. It's Hamlet. It's got a lot of elements of
It's
Shakespeare
Lion
to
King,
it.
but it's yeah, but it's just everything about Eric Killmonger. There are points where you don't even want to
read that one out.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan just kills it every time. In brackets, pun intended. Yeah, damn right. But he is just an absolute powerhouse of an actor. But it was the gravitation, the fact that you just needed to see Killmonger at every given point. That's all you wanted from that film.
He was the best part of the movie, hands down. You take him out of that movie, and you've got a good movie being mediocre.
Yeah. Claw was screwed. What is it? Grey? I don't want to call him Grey Gorilla. What is it? Grey? The other guy in the mountain. The other villain, but he became
M'Baku.
M'Baku. What's his code name?
I swear it's like White Ape or something.
Not White Ape. Whoever it was, like, it was. None of them were relevant and that's the thing. This is where I have a huge problem with what they done. They threw in everything Black Panther villains that left nothing for no one to follow up with. But again, we had that reigning villain, and my God, he just, yeah.
Andy has some stuff to say on this. Andy comes in with Jordan was great, but he had the more showy part. Boseman had to play the more stoic and regal. Yeah, this is true, but he played it boring. I know I get hate for saying this. I found him really boring in Black Panther.
Listen, I'm gonna have to put it out as the black guy and the black empowerment that came from it, because that's one of the reasons that made it all there. The fact that I can relate more to the villain was wrong, because he was making the statement that we have to understand. And also, I believe, even though he had to be regal and stoic, it should have been, correct me if I'm wrong, especially because of how strong we saw him in Civil War, very similar to Superman in Man of Steel, where he had to learn what it meant to be Black Panther, not just take it for granted that he is now the Black Panther. I'm not asking him to be Simba and be like, oh, I'm king now. No, I'm not asking him to be arrogant about it, but he was ruthless in Civil War because he had a vendetta. He should have learned what it meant to be the king of Wakanda, whereas it was just very tamed. It was completely toned down, and that's what made him weak.
I agree.
There was nothing redeeming to make me want to gravitate towards the Black Panther, whether it be from the, I don't want to put it under that banner, but the Black Lives Matter point of view, or from a superhero point of view. Neither side did he bring it for me. Just a personal opinion.
Big Tone has said, have you seen his What If? I'll be honest, Big Tone, I have not watched any of What If.
I'm going to finish the series first, which I'm doing with the missus, before I touch onto the What If world. I'm kind of, it's interesting, but it's not must-see for me, if I'm honest with What If.
I've heard the Doctor Strange episode is bloody good.
Cool.
But anyway, so yeah, my 4, that was your 3.
Yep.
Why do I think my 3 is about to be your 2? My 3, Loki.
I left him off.
What the what?
I left him off because he redeemed himself.
No. Fuck you. Dr. Octopus redeems himself at the end of Spider-Man 2. Absolutely not. That's a dead
argument.
Again,
Again, if we were going to play that game, Wanda would have been in there. Wanda would have been in there for sure.
Make an argument for it. I've got no issue.
It's just the way I viewed it. And I toyed with Loki. Loki was definitely going to be in the running. But I was like, the fact that I've got a TV series where I follow him as a hero, I changed it. I just
Fuck
saw
all
him as
that. Avengers 1, which still remains
Of course,
the
and
blueprint
four.
and still the greatest comic book movie ever made, in my very humble opinion, had one major villain in it, and his name was Loki, son of Asgard, burdened with glorious purpose.
But again,
Does a boot have a quarrel with an ant? The guy is money. He is one of the
Well,
best villains ever
I
put to
don't
screen in
have
comic
I
book
have
lore.
no beef with anything you're saying. It's the final redemption in the arc that left it. That's just my personal thing. I will say it, even down to if we're going to talk about the weakness of Phase 1, I think he was one of the better villains of Phase 1.
He was the only good villain in Phase 1.
I'm not talking Avengers, I'm talking in the individual movies.
Yeah.
Like he was
In all of the individual
kinds of
movies, he was the only decent villain.
Yeah. And this is why, but I just looked at the long running story of him within the MCU, and that's why I took him out.
I think you're insane to leave him off.
Legitimately, the only reason whatever you say, I will not argue with, because there is no argument in it. He's fucking awesome.
Taki actually comes in and says, "Love Loki and Thor and Avengers. Not as much of a fan as what they've done with him since." I kind of agree with that. I like Loki when you kind of don't know where he stands, but when you always know that he's ultimately going to stab you in his back and be a self-serving little prick. That's Loki at his absolute best. He's one of those annoying guys because he's kind of a sniveling little weasel, but he's also powerful enough that he can wreck your shit. Like he's he's not technically an Asgardian, but yes, he's an Asgardian.
Listen, there was no argument. It's literally, if I didn't want to be pedantic in the fact of what they've done with the later stages,
Andy Hart's got you. Redeems himself. Magneto redeems
as I
himself
said,
every other movie.
He's also turned out to be a backstabbing little prick by the end of each film. That's what I did say it at the beginning. I did say that when I talked about Magneto. No film has he ended as the good guy, and we're like, oh my god, Magneto and Charles Xavier are on the same side. Not one film. Show it to me, and I'll take it back.
Days of Future Past.
No.
How? Magneto's a good guy at the end of Days of Future Past. The only reason he goes bad in Apocalypse is because they kill his family. He's not a bad guy in Apocalypse until they kill his family.
No, he's not. You won me over there. Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's a movie I don't even like.
No, it's a good point. I actually forgot that one. I legit saw it as he's backstabbed in every other film aside from that one. And that's why. No, listen, there would never be an argument about Loki being on the list. It's just the parameters I personally set myself. That's all.
Not having Loki in this conversation almost feels like a disservice to this entire Rushmore, to be honest. Yes, he's come a long way since, but to not acknowledge the villainy line that he ran, oh man,
it was the end goal. That was just the end line. I'm gonna only repeat
fuck the finish line. I'm interested in the race.
Well,
I like the race.
I get it. What I'm gonna do is repeat myself, and it's gonna sound stupid because I'm not opposed to anything you're saying.
Okay. What is your number 2?
Right, my number 2 is. Sorry, here we are. I'm just on the. It was the big man himself, Mr. 4 Phases, Thanos.
Same here.
Let's be real. Now, potentially my number 1, some people, because of what was reviewed of the performance, made you want to go to see this film for the villain and what the story around it. When it comes,
sorry, mate. Just sorry to cut you off. Just before we get into Thanos, Big Tone says, didn't he Team Rocket Wolverine at the end of that movie? How was he good? No, he didn't Team Rocket Wolverine at the end. Oh, I see what you mean. Blasting off again. Actually, that's quite funny. Yeah. Mystique. So here's how fucked up the X-Men timeline is. At the end of Days of Future Past, he Team Rockets Wolverine into the river. We're led to believe that Mystique, pretending to be Stryker, captures him, but then we find out in the next movie that it actually was Stryker, and that's why the X-Men timeline sucks, because they can't even string their own fucking plot threads together.
But that helped. Thank you, Big Tone.
But I don't agree with that. Like, during the fight, he decided to Team Rocket Wolverine away, but I'm pretty sure that ended with them all on level terms and him not being a villain. Pretty sure. Because he's a good guy at the beginning of
But again, it was more the technicality of Loki than Magneto. We kind of passed Magneto, but I get where we're going with this. Read it how you will. With Magneto.
Let's talk about Mr.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, performances may lead you to want to see another villain, right? No film, dare I say, has you wanting to see how does it end more than what the MCU had built. We're talking about a culmination of films, multiple phases that all led to connecting many different heroes to take on one man, and that was Thanos. And that's what makes him awesome. At first, I thought it was going to be number one until my number one. I was like, "You are number one, and it can't be removed." But Thanos,
It's kind of where I was.
yeah, bro, it was just weird. I was like, he's going to be number one, and I'm like, no, you're not. And I think he was number one the last time we done this thing. Our number one. Coincidentally, we could be. I just hope you haven't taken someone else. Like, hey, he's yeah. Anyway,
I'm feeling we've probably got the same one. It would be weird to not have the same one.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. But Thanos was absolutely everything. There's the army that even when you look at some of the stuff where he's not so prevalent, but the twisted side of him to what he does to his own kids that you hear about in the Guardians of the Galaxy, you hear of the destruction he done to oh my god, I hate when I blank like this. Batista, Drax's family. Yeah, it's the different continuations. The fact that all that Loki was doing in phase one was for this guy. Like, no matter how big of a bad you are in any phase, it's to report for this guy. He was everything. And it's like, how do you beat him? The fact that it took everybody. Okay, he had his own army, so let's not exaggerate. He did. If we're going to talk about Endgame, you've probably seen it. You can aim for the head within the first 10 minutes, and yes, the film's over. But who he was in actual canon of the film, the evil he done across many planets, the destruction, the thought process of what,
and many timelines.
Yeah, what he's doing and how he chooses and why he chooses to do it. It's an understanding, but it's a vicious, hardline base of people are greedy. There's not enough sufficiency in the world. Let's just wipe out half the world. I don't care who you are. I don't care how you came about it.
I don't agree with the method, but I don't agree with the mindset, but I get it.
Come like Chris Rock. I'm not saying I get it. What is it?
I'm not saying he's guilty,
but I understand.
Yeah.
So this is it, and that's why Thanos cannot be. The box office wasn't just because it was all the Avengers are teaming up, because that would have been Avengers 1. It was because it's serving the big bad he's come up in, and that's what the world wanted to see.
Yep. And he really was the big bad. And he's what I loved about him, he was so compelling as a villain, because he was, despite how evil he was and despite how powerful he was, there was this that scene where he chooses to sacrifice Gamora. You know, he cries. There's this weird humanity to him. And that's what makes him such an interesting character, is that he's clearly still got family values, though is completely consumed with power, so is unable to articulate them clearly to his daughters, which, you know, we're led to believe very clearly that that's always been the case. Girls got daddy issues, both of them. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But his motives, while not being pure, they're not self-serving. That's what's interesting. He's not.
No. Hold on. If you would, the motives are pure. The way he goes about.
No, his motives. No, sorry, his actions are not pure.
Yeah.
His motives. Yeah, but wiping out people, I wouldn't say is a pure motive. But what makes him interesting is that his motives aren't self-serving. Yeah. He's not doing this for some sort of higher power. He's not doing this for some sort of, you know, financial or deity like reward. He's not doing it for himself. He's literally doing it for the greater good of the galaxy.
Because if you look at it, and let's break this down, is that even down to the point of he got what he wanted. He didn't then became, oh, I'm Thanos, worship me. He just went to his farm. He didn't even care. He just like, I done you guys a favor. This is it. I'm back to what I have to do. It's weird.
I thought that was such a stroke of genius, including that, because that is one of the Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet comic storylines. Thanos wins and he just goes and works on a farm. It was like, right, okay. That was depressing.
If Thanos was a wrestler, he'd be Brock Lesnar.
Legit. I'm going to Canada.
I'm there. I'm away from the world, and I'm just playing the field like that. That's all Brock does: kick ass and play a field.
He does a bit of playing the field, yeah. Have you seen his daughter? Right. What is your worst?
So I toyed with a lot.
Me
toyed
too.
with a lot of different ones. The Phoenix was one because there was multiple attempts.
Yeah.
Who else was there? There was another one that was like Juggernaut was another.
The Vinnie Jones one, of course.
Vinnie Jones nearly, and it was the redemption from Deadpool 2 that allowed it. Even though I think I still needed more story. Ultimately, my worst had to be Venom. Not Venom, Bane. Sorry, using Venom. Because this is the problem. Film 1, he looks like Bane. He uses what Bane wants, but he's a freaking idiot. He was brain dead. And then we get the chance of getting the real Bane, as you can see on the right, in the Nolan verse. He's as smart as the Bane we want. He has the fight skills of the Bane we want, but then he doesn't use the Venom, which I think is integral to Bane. And then he has this ever annoying voice. And I was just like, you just can't nail it. Like, we had 2 attempts at Bane that just neither were able to hit the mark. Don't get me wrong. I
blame Tom Hardy for that.
Oh, fuck off. Don't go there. Do not go there.
It's a yes or a no question. Do you blame Tom Hardy for that?
No.
Then leave Woody Harrelson the fuck alone.
I love how you held on to that till the very end. But yeah, okay. But my again, going back to my whole point, I was excited at the fact of seeing what Tom Hardy will deliver. But it just was, he didn't have the Bane look, he didn't have the Bane voice, and he had the Bane mentality and fight set, but then the origins were screwed. And that's where I feel like, had you molded the two
origin
together,
didn't bother me. I enjoyed that.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not looking for a Mexican wrestler with a grudge. Yeah, it's not the best. But I feel in a way, I don't know how, and it's obviously excusable, but we needed that seeking of Venom. We needed that point to make him that addict. It's part of the Bane mentality. And I just feel like if you merge the two, you've got the perfect Bane. But it's literally like you've just separated the two, and you've just ended up with 2 failures.
All right, Declan says the worst has to be Venom from Spider-Man 3. Oh, that was such a contender.
That was another one that was very nearly there. That was very nearly
such a contender. Tucky says it's probably Mr. Freeze, even though I love Annie. No, I'm not sending him to the cooler. It's absolutely not. But now what's really funny, you've mentioned Bane, Arnie's mentioned Mr. Freeze. My worst is Poison Ivy. It's not even a fucking competition for me. Like, oh my God, this was bad. This was so bad. No, it is. No, it's definitely not Mr. Freeze. It is absolutely not Mr. Freeze. It is definitely Poison Ivy. She is hands down. Because do you know why Mr. Freeze was redeemable? Because the canon which supports him is actually quite good. Like, especially when you watch the old Batman cartoon. The lines are cheesy as hell, but you know why you can forgive them? Because it's freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Who doesn't love Arnie, right? So even though it does not fit with that character at all, like he is such a cold, calculated villain, but he is such a sympathetic villain in the comics and in the cartoon show, right? Like you genuinely feel for Mr. Freeze, and that's what makes him so scary, is that you really do feel for him. So yeah. The canon that supports him does help in not making him the worst. Good God, Poison Ivy. What in the blue shit was this? Like, I'm sorry. That whole scene where she's fucking around with Robin at the end. And how do we beat her? Curses. She gets eaten by her ivy plant. I mean, get the fuck out my face. That whole fight scene with her and Batgirl going, my veins have a crush on you. It's like, shush. Just stop now. This is like,
again the cheesy lines. As bad as she is, do not. I'm not. It's not that we're competing, but I just thought Bane was ruined. ruined.
Oh yeah. Bane was totally ruined.
In a world of fromage lines, which had a cheesy Mr.
Burn.
Yeah, you would expect something that cheesy in that world. In that world, Poison Ivy is somewhat excusable because the film's shit. Let's not knock it.
It's awful.
But Bane was just like, what the hell, man? I'm not
Bane,
knocking what you're saying.
Do you know what? They almost there's. Here's the thing, right? I mean, if we're comparing him to actually how he should be portrayed, it's so far removed from anything. It's ridiculous. Although you still have kind of the Venom, as you mentioned, right? But here's the thing. They almost made him a comic. They almost made him comic relief. Come, Bane, darling. We've got work to do. You know, that's Poison Ivy delivering the line. That in itself just makes me, it literally physically makes my gonads shrivel up and hide in my stomach beneath my navel, such as the poverty of that line. But then it's followed up with your guy Bane going, "Oh, worky work." It's like, what? You did not just get Bane to say worky work. What is he, Scooby-Doo?
Right, guys, we've both hit our worst. I can see a few of you guys have put some names.
There's some good ones in here.
There are. Put your top 10s in now because we're going to reveal our number one. But now's your time to start putting your top 10s.
Brandon, Big Tone, Tucky, Declan, Andy Hart, Riri. This is the time, guys. Put your top 10s in so we can read them out for you just as we're going over our number one. But just for the sake of it, Tucky said not necessarily worse, but worst use is Whiplash and Iron Man 2. Do you know the only thing that saves Whiplash is because it's Mickey Rourke? And I'm such a mark for Mickey Rourke. I love him.
It was a bit of a throwaway. It was a weird way to, Iron Man 2 was,
Let's go. Brandon says, I hate Ryan. Yeah. Let's go, little spider. Time to play.
That was a letdown. That was a huge letdown.
Big Tone, my guy. Thank you. She did not have unlimited power. She was worse. And I said it. She was worse. I hate Dr. Doom. Here's the thing about Dr. Doom in Fantastic Four. That is a fucking villain I want to see Marvel do right. My God.
That is the point I was going to make. So far, Bane is just like the Fantastic Four of villains. They just can't do it right. And I want to see both of these stuff done right. I need to see a Fantastic Four done right, and I need to see a Bane done right. And with a Fantastic Four done right comes a Doctor Doom done right. Let's with
that comes a Galactus done right, and with that comes a Silver Surfer. Oh my God, the plethora of villains we're getting with Fantastic Four is just so.
You know how annoying it was that Galactus was a cloud,
a poo cloud. Yes,
it was just man. I mean,
horrible.
Come off it. They didn't even give it the kind of effect that we had with like looking like Mufasa in the freaking line to this cloud. Like, fucking ridiculous.
Simba, I am here to destroy you.
Give me some kind of shape.
Remember the poo cloud.
Good God. Oh man, look, I struggle a lot with Poison Ivy. I really do, but I have to go for that. Poison Ivy's my worst.
Thank you, Tucky. Honorable mention for him, striker from X2. Love him. He had to make the list. I think his intention
in X2. That was the best version we got of him.
It was the best version, but I still, when you look at the villain from Wolverine wasn't a great movie, but the story wasn't that bad. Right.
So I suppose our best is Malekith, the Dark Elf from Thor Dark World, right?
Indeed. Anyhow,
I'd like to go on record and say I think Malekith the Dark Elf is the worst villain that's been done in the MCU, and he was vying for my worst spot.
Right, the Clown Prince of Crime.
Why?
I put serious. I put the different versions up because, don't get me wrong, if we're gonna go direct, Heath Ledger will always win, like hands down. However, you take Joaquin Phoenix's new story, the origins of what made the Joker. Let's not forget about this vat of acid that ruins a face or what have you.
It's good. It's
cool, but I'm saying that story that they done and how the laugh became and the reject from society was absolutely amazing. Jack Nicholson, again, as I said, I'm going to run through the pictures just the way I did. Each one fits its timeline. You've got the 1960s Batman where it has to be camp. Cesar Romero owned it. Jack Nicholson owned it in the Burton world. The animation Joker kicked ass, whether it be on the TV series, which we
So
don't count,
good.
or the films. They are vicious characters. Also, I want to put a little throwaway into the video games because that you tend to use Mark Hamill's kind of voice and character.
No,
Heath
how
Ledger
many
also.
times did that motherfucker make you jump in that Batman game?
You do not want to play that. I always remember it's the one where you're climbing up.
And he just jumps up and goes,
Like, honestly, I think the insanity of the Joker, and I've not read any Batman comics, it's one thing, but the animation took him to an absolutely unpredictable, violent, a-hole, mega villain that you just can't deny. Heath's, the Nolan verse, that was just blow away. Even down to Jared Leto. That's what I'll bring it down to what I said last week. If you're going to talk
There's
about
no even.
gangster,
I liked it.
some people hate it, but I'm saying you look at the gangster element of it. He had all the elements that you need. It was a different take because you can't copy and paste the Joker and have a new Batman but have the same old Joker. And it was a new, wonderful take. I just have to put it out there. I just believe
I loved it.
every version, and this is also what made me make him take the place over Thanos, is that you could take a different era, a different way. That crazy mad clown will always be there and catch your attention.
Can I be honest with you? The only time Joker has ever disappointed me, and this, bear with me while I expand on this, is in the animated series, and I mean specifically season 4. When they got the new animators in and they completely changed the way he looked.
I could get that.
And you could hear Mark Hamill, you could really tell in the performance that he wasn't into the design and he wasn't bringing his A game.
Who he was, yeah.
He wasn't doing it. Like season 1 to 3, untouchable. But season 4, when the animators changed and the look changed, bro, to be honest with you, the only good thing to come out of season 4 of the animated series was the Scarecrow. Now that motherfucker looked awesome in season 4.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I can agree.
That guy looked amazing.
Scarecrow also nearly made the list. He was about
Scarecrow hasn't done enough for me in the movies. Or seeing the.
I was more Ra's al Ghul than Scarecrow.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
But again, if I didn't want to saturate with the Nolan verse, and obviously the Joker kicked everyone's ass.
He just does. And on that note, let's read out a few top 10s now. Big Tone, I'm still waiting for yours. Where you at?
Come on,
Andy Hart says, in at number 10 is Jack Nicholson's Joker. 9, Andy, you're going to have to school me on this because I don't know who John Rooney, played by Paul Newman, is, unless you know, AJ.
No.
8, Magneto, Ian McKellen. 7, Deacon Frost, played by Stephen Dorff. 6, Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, as low as 6. 5, Mama, played by Lena Headey. 4, General Zod. Oh, you're going with the Terrence Stamp,
Sorry.
are you?
Hang on. I just started Googling to find out who John Rooney was. It's actually Wayne Rooney's younger brother. I need to find out who he's in the comic book.
I have a feeling you might be on a rabbit hole there, my friend. Lee Woo Jin, you're going to again have to school me on that one, I'm afraid, Andy, but I imagine that's a Korean adaptation graphic novel, which I'm not familiar with. 2, Lex Luthor by Gene Hackman, and 1, Heath Ledger's The Joker. That's an amazing list. I can't really disagree with anything on there. And by the way, guys, Andy is one of the major movie buffs and major movie nerds, and I really suggest that everyone goes onto Twitter and follows him at Andy at Fandango Groover. Nothing to do with the Fandango, the ticket stubs, by the way. I found that out when discoursing with him. But yeah, please do go and follow Andy.
Has it got anything to do with the NXT winner Johnny Curtis? And
nope.
Okay, fair enough.
Nope. Declan, who you can follow on Twitter at Just a Movie Fan, says number 10, Ultron. My guy, thank you, Declan. Number 9, Thanos. Wow. Holy shit. Okay, each to their own. 8, Zemo from
Zemo nearly made it worst.
Zemo's never been my guy. Look, I know that people love him. It's common thing that I get it. 8, Zemo from Captain America. 7, Doc Ock from Spider-Man. From Spider-Man 2, 6, damn, all right, 6, Loki, 5, Magneto from the OG X-Men, 4, Killmonger, 3, Sandman from Spider-Man. Interesting.
I think Sandman was portrayed better in the films than he has actually been on even like the cartoons. They did do quite well with Sandman. But the film was a bit of a cheese fest.
Declan's 2 is my number 11. Ozymandias from Watchmen. I wanted to put this on so much. I just could not take my beloved Ultron off, though. And number 1, Joker, obviously, from Heath Ledger. And Big Tone says number 10, Secretary Alexander Pierce, Robert Ray. Yeah, that's a great shot, actually, from Winter Soldier. I really like that one. 9, Green Goblin. 8, Doc Ock. 7, Ra's al Ghul. 6, Sword. 5, Ultron. Big Ultron pick. I like that. 4, Loki. 3, Killmonger. 2, Thanos. 1, Joker. Okay. So
1, 2, 3 is kind of. Anyway, is anyone else?
Oh, Andy Hart. Yeah, sorry again, mate. Why did I not think of them? Fucking Road to Perdition's a graphic novel, isn't it? I always forget that. Ugh. And I'm pretty sure it was Paul Newman's last role, wasn't it? And Let's Go Brandon says top 3 worst superhero villains. Oh, you leave Enchantress alone.
No. He's got come on.
Oh, no. Well, 2, Lex Luthor played by Jesse Eisenberg. So stick that no up your tushy. And 3, Doctor Doom by Toby Kebbell in Fan 4 stick.
But who are your best, Brandon?
I always fucking forget Road to Perdition, and it's such a goddamn good movie. Oh, that makes me quite angry with myself because
no, but bro, as much as Suicide Squad was a fun film, Enchantress wasn't a good film.
Enchantress.
The whole just standing there, just winding away. I love how they always take the piss out of her and like how it should have ended. Superhero.
Bro, she may as well be a Middle Eastern belly dancer. You know, it's so stupid. It's so shit. Enchantress is a good shout, to be fair. All right. Well, look, it seems that pretty much everyone has put the Joker at number 1. So I want to know, in the interest of fairness, do we create a poll now? Because it is now time to Rushmore this bad boy. Do we create a poll that excludes the Joker? But then. So here's the thing. Then we're going down the line of, but then Thanos is the clear winner. I would argue he's not. I would argue there's enough love out there for Loki.
He's got enough to. I mean, there is a contender. As much as I want to put Killmonger in there, and I'm not saying he shouldn't be in there, I think Hela has more. I don't know, but then I don't want to make it like MCU villains.
Penguin.
Hey, Penguin nearly made it actually, but
I'm not lying. He nearly made it for me too. It does get a bit. Well, we got Zod,
got Ultron,
but again, this is MCU. You said you wanted to avoid it being too MCU. Real talk. If we put Joker on, he's winning. It's not even a contest.
I love it. Big Tone. Nope, the people have spoken. If it's Joker, it's Joker. But then it's just obvious.
Yeah, but Tone, this is the thing. The point of the Movie Mount Rushmore, when we put it on Twitter, is that there's a poll you vote on, and you can only pick one of them. And when you have something that is overwhelming majority, it's kind of like the reason we're excluding him is because we acknowledge that he's the winner. So the poll would almost be a redundant waste of time then. It's like, we don't want to do a poll where it's like, well, it's kind of like if you got... It's kind of like if you got anyone running up against Boris Johnson right now. We know they would win. Well, I mean, we hope.
There is no such guarantees in life.
There is no such guarantees. This is very true.
I feel like Declan has just ruined the poll.
He has completely, but I'll bring it up right now. Going to be the same with last week, putting Godfather in the poll. Heath Ledger will win. And this is exactly, I was trying to bring up, I was attempting to bring up this point without actually revealing the poll, but the poll's been revealed. Yeah, everyone should have fucking listened to me last week. Godfather shouldn't go in polls.
Yeah, listen, it was out of interest. I mean, in fairness, anyway, it's done.
It's done, yeah. So do we leave the Joker off?
Andy says Batman Returns is actually my favorite Batman movie, and a lot has to do with Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, Catwoman nearly made it.
To quote Chris Rock,
you're good. You're good. It happens.
Nah, mate, it happens. Don't worry about it.
There was a C word that we don't mention, and we done it for
cunt.
4 weeks. The global one. That one.
How
many weeks? We've actually been on quite a good run.
The global bastard, yeah. Joker, the jewels of comic book. Yeah, Andy Hart knows. Andy Hart knows. There are certain movies you don't put on a poll. And in this case, there are certain characters. There is no point putting the Joker on. The Joker could freaking give Darth Vader a run for his money at this point, I believe. Let's go. Brandon says Neil before Zod. So if you want to get a DC guy in there, I suggest we put Zod in.
I don't have a beef with that. Because we have to remove the Joker.
Have to. It's this pointless poll otherwise.
I'd like to put Deacon Frost in there.
Woo! We're going a bit old school, are we? What does everyone think about putting Deacon Frost in the movie Mount Rushmore? What do we think of that? Frost.
He was the comic book villain that no one knew was a comic book villain, which is weird, but they all admired the film. I know probably most of the people in this group watching probably knew. So I'm not dismissing your knowledge of film, but I'm just putting it out there.
I think Killmonger should be in there. I really do.
But we're doing double MCU. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not.
Well, we've only got so many people we can pull from. What, you want to put Mama in there?
They should get buried.
Yeah, exactly. As much as I'd love to put her in there. Hang on. Sorry. You see that private chat I've just sent you just where we're making notes? Ignore that first message, obviously. It should have been this. Oh, no, it shouldn't.
Everyone wins. No.
So, okay. Does Loki go in?
The first two private messages.
Okay. Does Loki go in? I mean, Loki really should be in this discussion.
But then, okay, here we go. Ant has just said he definitely should be being Killmonger. Andy Hart says, I love Blade, but how many voters will know who Frost is?
You've got people from Twitter who vote on Twitter telling you this.
Who's Deacon Frost? So
there
that
you go, proof. And Declan says Ozymandias. I mean, yeah, I do not have a beef with putting Ozymandias on.
Well, the fact that I've never brought myself around to watch Watchmen might
is a crime against humanity, but we won't touch on that.
Long. It's just too long. It's not for want of trying. That I can't deny. Now here comes my thing. I'm not opposed to it. But many people would have to vote for that. However, the argument stands between Killmonger
and Ozymandias.
Well, Killmonger and Loki. Do we just accept fate and it is what it is because the MCU have changed the world? We didn't want to make it Marvel.
It's really bad that it's all Marvel. It's really bad.
Andy says Lex Luthor, Zod, Loki, Magneto.
Lex Luthor is a good shout, you know. That's a good shout. Lex Luthor and Zod should really both be in there.
Okay. I get this. Now, let's take it from the perspective of where we've got, right? He was like my 9 or 10. And even if we took Gene Hackman, right? Does Lex Luthor not instantly either way, does Lex Luthor not just become that recognizable face for even the non-comic book fans? They're like, oh, Superman's enemy, of course. Like I could be wrong in what I'm saying.
I think you're wrong in what you're saying. Oh, and Big Tone says Lex or Zod, not both. Well, if it's Lex or Zod, I pick Zod every day of the week. The way we're standing at the moment, guys, is we've kind of got Thanos and Zod locked in, and now we're debating.
Is it Zod over Lex? I'm asking the people. I'm not even asking you. I'm asking the people.
Tell me how this sounds: Thanos, Zod, Loki, Killmonger. No, Thanos, Zod, Loki, Lex. How does that resonate with you? Because that sounds quite good to me. But how does it work for you? You think leaving Killmonger off is a crime against humanity?
Who?
Leaving Killmonger off, is that a crime against humanity?
In my personal list, I need Killmonger in a top 4.
We did say that he owned the character in his own movie, right? So there is that.
What's this?
Thanos, Zod, Loki, Lex. Yeah, he likes that. He likes the sound of that. Rushmore does, Brandon.
No, this is us being true to us. If we were to have eliminated the people with the highest respect, guys, but if you listen to season 1, there was no interaction. It was a pre-recorded show. All right. There was not even a Twitter vote at the end. Killmonger definitely would have been in there.
Oh, I would have fought you hard in season 1 for Killmonger to not be in there. Because you remember where I was at the time. I was on a not liking that movie.
But again, you would have fought it, but you will have agreed that he was the star of the freaking film, which is essentially what we're going to say. Because again, when we're saying must see, in the element of must see, how do you...
Big Tone says can't have 3 Marvel though.
Okay.
It is a bit much having 3 Marvel.
Of course it is. But here we go. Now let's play this game on a correct level now. And I'm not trying to
Big
dismiss
Tone
Loki.
says if we was being truthful, it would be Joker, Thanos, Loki, and Killmonger. I'm not sure I agree with that.
I don't know
I wouldn't be taking out Zod to put Killmonger in. Absolutely not.
Again, in the must-see of who you have to see as a villain, no other character, short of Heath Ledger as the Joker, have we said the villain outshines the hero than Killmonger. And if we're talking must-see, it's factual. The fight is worth it between Zod and Superman, and the legacy of Zod makes it okay. It should be that.
And the performance from Michael Shannon as Zod is freaking incredible. I'm not saying that Michael B. Jordan's isn't, but you were just saying it's, you know, you were focusing on the fight, and I'm like, there's a lot more to it than that. Yeah, Andy Hart says I'm not a Superman fan, and neither am I, Andy. I'm a big man.
Then
of
we're
Steel,
doing double Superman. We're not even just like do it. It's double Superman.
Yeah, I know. This is the issue. It's like it's double Marvel, double Superman. There's not.
That's double Superman, which is literally taking the piss.
This is much harder than I thought it was going to be fair. Big Tone's kind of onto something here. If we was being truthful, it would be Joker, Thanos, Loki, and Zod. Not Killmonger, Zod.
I don't know, would it?
I mean, for me, yes. Joker, Thanos, Loki, and Zod is a very, very good poll. But the problem is you put that on.
Zod would get obliterated.
Obliterated, as would Killmonger. Do you really think Killmonger stands a chance on Twitter with those other 3 on the list?
Brandon, I mean,
yeah, and it's not MCU. Then
he's not MCU, and I could actually make. I mean, it was my number. I don't have an argument. As I said,
neither do I.
The redeeming factors.
It wouldn't go on if it, as you said, this was 4 seasons ago, but given that this is going out to the Twitterverse, I actually think Brandon, and I don't just want to give Brandon credit because I think somebody, look, Declan said Magneto as well. There was a few other people who have said Magneto, and we've just been in our own little bubble. Bro, Magneto is iconic, isn't he?
He is iconic. He is iconic, and it's more iconic than Killmonger. That I have no argument.
So what? Thanos, Zod, Loki, Magneto? That's a good poll, you know, if we're excluding the Joker. Andy said,
I don't know what
argument for Joker. He will win, but it will be a fair fight for second place amongst the other 3. So what are you saying, Andy? Are you saying to have Joker, Thanos, Loki, and Magneto?
No. Joker
and get rid of Zod. Joker, Thanos.
If you look at our private message, it works.
Yeah, it does.
It actually works.
I just want to go back to what Andy was suggesting, though. Are you pitching to have Joker in and then have Thanos, Loki, and Zod? Or who would you have in that 4th spot?
But this is what he's saying. It will be a fair fight for second, but then ultimately we know who number 1 is. So let's give it a 4-way race. I mean,
yeah,
I get what he's saying. If you can't decide on who would be
4th, then put the obvious one in and then make it a race for second.
4th, instead of obliterating any given villain, which not that we created any of them, so it's not a personal defeat for us. It works, but I think the list in the PM works, bro. Because
I like it.
One,
I like it.
Yeah. And it is 2 MCU though. That's the only I've got, but I can work with it. It wouldn't kill me.
Okay, Andy, I hear what you're saying. We're gonna leave Joker off just because I don't want the poll to be that lopsided 2 weeks in a row. Like, it was ridiculous what happened last week. Despite the heavy hitters being in there, it was a fucking joke. It was almost not worth doing that poll. Despite me saying don't include the Godfather. Political reference from Brandon. I wish I can add Dr. Fauci on the list. If you know, you know. Yeah, well done, Brandon. I like that. AJ, I'm happy to go with that PM, mate.
I think we're going to have to, because I can't actually think of a logical force to make it as diverse as we wish. Because the only thing would be Mama, and she will fall absolutely.
Mama doesn't have a chance.
This is what I'm saying. Like, in what we've done, that would be it.
Let's do it.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official movie Mount Rushmore of comic book movie villains in no particular order.
And excluding the Joker.
And excluding the Joker is
Magneto.
Our second entry is
Loki.
Could you say that again, please? That was proper not clear.
Loki.
He rolls his eyes and went,
Our third entry is
Zod.
Our final entry into the movie Mount Rushmore of comic book movie villains is...
Did that come out clear for you? Thanos. So, it was actually tougher than I thought. Like,
way
I
tougher.
Mean, it's one of those things that sometimes, especially when you have a clear cut number one, it then becomes a real interesting conversation for who really takes.
Well, Just a Movie Fan, Declan, we have already done a top 10 on that. It is available. I think we did it last season. I'm pretty sure that was the season 3 top 10 we did.
Yeah.
Definitely been done. Not in video.
Oh, book to movie. Yeah. No, yeah, we did do it.
Yeah. We've definitely done it, but not in video format. This is kind of the nice thing about doing things on YouTube again, is it does give us a chance to revisit and offer it in a different
and
format.
The fact that at the time our Twitter wasn't even as big as it was, so it's nice to interact with people and just say, hey, check the back catalogue. So we
and says Thanos going to clean up Magneto coming last. That's an interesting call. I think there's a lot of love out there for Loki, bro. But we'll see. Thanos isn't going to clean up the way the Joker would clean up. Put it that way.
But I think it's weird because there is a lot of love out there. We left Lex off, didn't we? Yeah. I don't know if Lex would have caught. Anyway, maybe it's just the way I lean on stuff, but it's cool. Okay, guys. So we're talking about cleanup. Why are we talking about cleanup? Then the tech wasn't here. Sorry, it's just hit me like there was no interaction there.
Yeah, we weren't filming on Wednesday this week. He joins us live when we do it on Wednesday, not Tuesday.
Guys, out of interest, what is a more ideal day for you? Because I'm trying to make a commitment that we both have been delayed on either days, but if you did have a choice,
would you prefer us to record on a Tuesday at 9 p.m. BST or a Wednesday at 9 p.m. BST? Let us know. We're relatively flexible. I mean, I've got a little girl coming any minute, but
we're working to consistency, and it's a hobby, but it's the screener.
Well, we're doing our best to give it to you guys the way you want to receive it.
It's the screener community is something we respect and love. This is why we keep adding and extending. And while talking of adding and extending, why are we talking about cleanup? Why are we? What is this all about? Why do we talk about Twitter and why the previous of what zone? I love Brandon.
It's lovely.
100% true. Declan says Tuesday. Okay, cool. Not sure. Okay. All right. Sorry, that's a different one. Andy says not sure. I think Loki will beat Thanos. We'll see. But yeah. Okay, guys. Something to think about. And yeah, who knows? I mean, I'm not saying it's the last episode, but in a couple of weeks, bro. I'm just.
But we've got one next week for sure. So we'll see.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Just acknowledge parenthood. No one will diss you for this. The screener community is an understanding community.
Bro, she might be a very chilled little baby. I don't know. There are some babies who need constant attention. There are some who are chilled and sleep. I'll see how she is, but she is the priority.
I could legitimately.
I mean, not unfortunately, but she is the priority.
I could legitimately read your message that you sent to me just yesterday and said she's a stubborn little. She follows her father. I'm just saying, but we won't go any further. But yeah. Let right. So why are we talking about the community and the votes? The main sorry. Brandon was
Most
getting
parents stream midnight. Yeah, I don't want to put you guys through that. That wouldn't be fair, but yeah, maybe.
even the last episode at that 10 o'clock to whatever, man. It was
And next week, Declan, you shall see. Let us wrap up with this poll, and we will tell you what's coming next week. Hold fire.
Yeah. Okay, so the reason we're talking about the community and what is a cleanup is because we, the Silver Screen Dudes, had the challenge with a bit of your help. We're not going to take it all for ourselves. Had the challenge of creating the movie Mount Rushmore, the 4 must-see, diverse movies of this genre, the movie villains. However, it's now on you guys. The challenge is on you. Half of you guys who voted have now got to put a further challenge. Yeah, you helped us, but we didn't help you because now you have to vote between Thanos, Zod, Loki, and Magneto. Did I say that clear enough for you? Thanos, Zod, Loki, and Magneto. As to who is
really
El
got your back
Capitan.
up against the wall with that, didn't I? It's okay, honey. I got you.
You didn't. I was taking the piss at first. Now I realize I was a bit too far from my mic, so I just wanted to make sure. But I bantered it at the same time. You haven't got me up the. Trust me, you would know. I don't know. You've heard it.
I'm getting a bit of an impression here, mate. I don't know. You sure
Listen,
you're okay? You need a hug.
Listen. As long as it's not from Woody Harrelson.
Well played, to be fair.
Right. So now I'm making myself laugh. That's really bad. But okay.
Dad.
You have to head on over to Twitter at Movie MT Rushmore, but more importantly, at Movie Polls for You, who we will be retweeting. Love to JT all the time. For who is the El Capitan, El Numero Uno, before Den kills me, the best of the best of the best. And to quote Andy, who's
Andy's here
watching, I know. To quote Highlander, in the end, there can be only one.
He's got it.
God, I hope until he messages me like, yeah, you fucked up.
Until Andy comes in right now going, that was wrong again.
That was wrong. Exactly. It will kill me.
I
was so confident until he knocked my confidence. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mr. Fandango Groover. Right. So, yeah. That's all you have to do. You will be able to vote. You only get one vote because it's a retweet. And in a couple of days, we will be announcing our winner. Last week, our topic was
the best fictional gangster movie.
And our contenders were?
Our contenders were Pulp Fiction, Scarface, and A Clockwork Orange.
Okay, so we have...
By the way, you just got the approval from Andy Hart, by the way.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
I'd like to go on record and say I wanted to have The Godfather off of this list and to have The Usual Suspects on, and I got vetoed.
It was a case of Godfather versus Scarface. So we know what. Let's normally go 4, 3, 2, 1. We might as well go 1, 2, 3, 4 because we officially know who number 1 is.
Ridiculously so. Right, yeah.
Scarface at number 2.
So 597 people voted. So it was quite a nice turnout in terms of the voting numbers. Francis Lalonde Ballpark Frank said, I'm not really sure if I'd call it a gangster flick, but got to go with The Clockwork Orange. Andy Hart, who's joining us now, says, as much as I love Pulp Fiction, it has to be Godfather, Jaws of gangster movies. I cannot get behind the inclusion of A Clockwork Orange. Technically, it meets the criteria as it has gangs in it, but that isn't what the movie is about. I did address that. It is a fair point. Mixed Memorabilia said voted for Godfather in this poll, but my favorite is The Godfather Part 2. No. From this poll, as movies go, Godfather, Pulp Fiction, then Scarface. I don't think Clockwork Orange should be in this poll at all. His characters go Michael Corleone, Tony Montana, then Jules Winfield. Chris Redfield. Hey, Andy, you're going to hear AJ. You're going to see a live reaction from AJ now regarding Chris Redfield. Of course, he has something to complain about because it's Chris. Thought this was supposed to
hold on. This is another Chris though, because the normal Chris is...
Yeah, but he's called Chris Redfield. He's renamed himself. It is Chris Trengrove. Don't worry.
Here we go. Okay.
He's renamed himself a Resident Evil character. To be fair, a very good Resident Evil character. I thought this was supposed to exclude The Godfather, which coincidentally I rewatched today. But my answer is Pulp Fiction. Why complain if you don't even vote for what?
Do you know what that is? That is the fact that you know your choice is lost and you just can't take it. Honestly, you're watching.
Do you want to hear blasphemy come from his mouth now?
Oh fuck! Here we go.
Also, Scarface is not good, and I love including A Clockwork Orange, an all-time fave of mine. Great outside the box choice. I had to reply to this. Quote unquote, Scarface is not good. You're wrong. No ifs, no buts, no discussion. You're just wrong here. And then he came back and said, you would like Scarface. I bet you like Pacino and his accent in it too. So many other better options omitted for this. This fucking guy. Do you know what I said to him? Flip the script. Why am I not surprised you don't like Scarface? I suppose you hate Forrest Gump as well. And of course he answered, I won't call Forrest Gump bad, but it's badly overrated. Certainly not top 5 of 1994. Maybe not even top 10. I've just won this argument very easily. He's just buried himself here. To which I answered, confirmation that Chris Trengrove is a film hipster. Yeah, AJ's silence says everything. Now, Andy Hart says Scarface is overrated. That's fine. Chris said Scarface isn't good. That hurt. And now he's actually saying that he doesn't appreciate Forrest Gump, and he's not even putting it as a top 10 movie of 1994. I can no longer relate to this level of hipsterishness. I'm sorry. The face. Look at 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 the face.
Lost for words at the fact. Now, I'm not going to pretend I've seen every film of 1994. And I also know that 1994 had a shitload of good films.
Shawshank, Pulp Fiction, Lion King.
Yeah, just to name a few. And in that contender, in that category, we would normally say Forrest Gump.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that somebody can say, I would not put that as just basically just call it average and just shit on it to the point
not
that
even in the top 10,
like maybe top 15, 20, like where are we going? I'm actually lost for words.
Lost for words. In the same conversation thread, he said Scarface isn't good, and he said Forrest Gump is overrated, and he doesn't put it in the top 10. I mean, do you see why I despair sometimes? I appreciate the interaction always, but goodness God. Just a movie fan. What are you doing to me? Forrest Gump is also kind of overrated. He's okay. AJ, help. Brandon reassures me and says, let's go Scarface. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, let's kind of keep it on a positive. Like, I no film has captured me the way Forrest Gump did. It's weird to say this, but I remember it just being like everything in one go. When I first watched it, I was like, it's weird how they've just taken all of these historical moments and joined it together and made
beautiful.
It,
beautiful thing.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, opinions are opinions. One day, I was thinking it needs to be a Rushmore where we step back and watch people debate, which I think could actually be quite interesting.
I'd love to do a show like that. Bring people who like interact with us and bring them on and discuss. I've been trying to get JT on for the longest time, but he's like, no,
I think if an actual film discussion, there's a point where it would just be like, just throw questions out, see your histories, and I would, Andy, you're 100% invited.
Everyone is.
No, but like, yeah, like Andy's not. Yeah, it's true. Everyone, there's no like discrimination on this, but yeah, it may have to be a Zoom because like StreamYard wouldn't be able to fit it. I'm not a fan of Zoom, but it like or maybe Zoom. A series.
Google Meets. Series is a great shout.
A series where we just get to know some of our fans and just interact with you guys. So it's not necessarily a topic, but it's just like we'd have a few of you and just find out who you are.
Film discussion.
Yeah, I would quite like that and just discuss a few of your films.
I love the idea. Let us know if you guys would be interested in that. Riri, by the way, has said Pulp Fiction I personally prefer, but Forrest Gump is class and close second of 94. Riri, love you for saying that. Thank you. And Declan says you could use Discord. I will look into that. Mixed Memorabilia has come in and said, had to leave show partway through as had tennis match the next day. Oh, hope you won, mate. I wish I could have given this the time it deserved in readiness for the show. I would like to put together my proper top 10, voted for The Godfather on this poll, though my favorite is The Godfather Part 2. Why do people like that fucking movie? Godfather Part 1 is the one. Richard Murphy says, seriously? Surely the question should be the second best. The Godfather is the only answer, unless The Godfather 2 is allowed. Do you see what I mean about the universal love for The Godfather Part 2? And I wish I could fucking understand it. Calturk 4 says, tough call between Godfather and Pulp Fiction. Scarface is a shit show of a flick, really. What? What?
It's one of these things I've always been... So first of all, Andy likes the discussion part, but he also says, I bet Chris likes part 2. I'm very sure.
Of course he does. Of course he fucking does. Robert L. Smoot says something is really wrong with Scarface. Should be in second place behind The Godfather. Who can distract from the man Tony Montana? So he voted for Scarface. Matthew Moy says no. These polls slay me every time. Wake up, people, and then included A Clockwork Orange. Pasi Vestala said The Godfather, king of gangster movies, and the spoopy ignorapt shithead. That's actually a Twitter handle. I'm not making it up. Said, voted my favorite, that classic gangster movie, A Clockwork Orange. Then Tony, do you know what? There are so many fucking comments on here, and I've got a pregnant wife, mate. I can't do this. Let's just go to the poll. Guys, I'm really sorry if I haven't had a chance to read you out, but I have got to get to bed because I got a very pregnant wife next door. Sorry, AJ. So from 1 down to 4, we're doing it in reverse this week.
So Godfather, how much did it steamroll by?
59%.
Fuck me.
Right, fucking joke. Nothing's even. It's a joke.
And the reason Casino and Goodfellas aren't in there is because they had real life gangsters. These are fictional.
They were real stories. This is fictional gangsters. Fictional. Yeah. We did real gangsters 2-3 weeks back, and Casino and Goodfellas were very much in that discussion. By the way, spoiler: Goodfellas killed. Riri Thomas says, "Love Scarface, but I would personally say Al Pacino's best performances in Donnie Brasco." That is a list we're going to have to do at some point. Top 10 Al Pacino movies. That's going to be one hell of a list.
I have a clear winner. Yeah, but we won't get into that.
Scarface for you, innit?
Come again? Scarface
for you, innit? Profumo di donna.
Let's see. But anyway, we digress. Number 2. I'm actually oh, fuck's sake. Sorry, bear with me a second. This is when the brain goes a bit funny. I didn't hear a lot of love for Pulp Fiction, but I'm still going to go Scarface. It has to be Scarface.
No, it's Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. Okay.
23%.
At which point Scarface is number 3.
Scarface and A Clockwork Orange are joint third. 9% each. Scarface got eviscerated. This is what I'm saying. The Godfather doesn't go on polls anymore.
Yeah, but either way, as much as we thought it was a clash between the Don and Tony, I'm shocked that I love Jules, don't get me wrong, but wow.
It is what it is. We got a wrap.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much. Yeah. Again, keep tuning in. It could be a Tuesday, it could be a Wednesday. We've seen a couple of votes for Tuesdays. Yes, I agree with Brandon. Babies come first. And if you would like to listen or tell a friend who's really into podcasts and not so much into the visuals, people who like to do stuff on the ground, we are available on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Geo7.
Many different podcast platforms for you all to enjoy.
Yeah, indeed. I saw a giggle and I saw a last message. Scarface is the turning point where he went from whispering to shouting. Well played, Andy. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Nico's got to go. I've got phone calls to make.
And to answer the question, for next week, we are going to be doing a Halloween special. We are doing the top 10 zombie movies. So look out on Twitter this weekend when I'll be asking all of you, what's your favorite zombie movie? You can drop your comments out on Twitter. And then next week, we will be counting down our top 10 zombie movies. It's going to be a fun one because guess what? This guy fucking hates zombie movies. So this is going to be a grind.
I'll take a bit of a twist, but yeah, that's the one. Okay, guys. So until the next time, I am the one AJ Anthony Jordan.
Double V, Viceroy of Verisimilitude, me, Nico Lurot, signing out, and I will see you guys later in the week.
See ya.
See ya.